It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Father Robert is here with all sorts of cool stuff from CES. Connie Guglielmo, CNET's editor-in-chief, is also back from Vegas. She's got a look at some of the more important things she saw at CES. And then, of course, Paris Martineau from The Information. There's a lot to talk about. Let's get started. Twit is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 910 for Sunday, January 15th, 2023. It's a Myrkl. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Decisions. Don't let complexity block your company's growth. Decisions' no-code, rules-driven process automation software provides every tool you'll need to build custom workflows, empowering you to modernize legacy systems, ensure regulatory compliance, and renew the customer experience. Visit decisions.com/twit to learn how automating anything can change everything. And by Noom. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom Weight's psychology-based approach. And check out Noom's first ever book, The Noom Mindset, a deep dive into the psychology of behavior change. Available to buy now wherever books are sold. Sign up for your trial at noom.com/twit. And by ZipRecruiter. Your company has goals this year. Find the right people to help you achieve them with ZipRecruiter, where 4 out of 5 employers get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it free at ziprecruiter.com/twit. And by Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. Get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month. And get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/twit. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the week's tech news. We got a great panel for you, including a bunch of stuff from the Padres Shopping Network. Before I get to that, let's introduce the editor-in-chief of CNET, Connie Guglielmo. It's great to see you again. Thank you for joining us, Connie.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Wonderful to have you. You were at CES, and you're still standing.
I did not get sick this year.
Impressed. It was late this year. It started on Thursday, went through Sunday. But I will get your thoughts. Before that, though, let's say hi to Paris Martineau, who did not go to CES. She is, of course, at the Great Information. We've been quoting you guys a lot lately. Hi, Paris.
We've been doing a lot of great stuff here. Hi, happy to be here, just like the umlaut and Myrkl.
You mean Myrkl?
Myrkl.
The drug for drunks? That one?
Yes.
It's the one the drug with the unaccountable umlaut over the M? That one? It's
no vowels except for a Y unless you count that.
Myrkl. Father Robert brought this. Father Robert Ballecer, the digital Jesuit, is here. It's great to see you. You were in Vegas as well.
I was, and it was odd because I always come back from CES with something. Normally a cold or a flu.
Instead, Myrkl.
I had a Myrkl. I got a Myrkl. And
look at all
nothing.
this.
Yep.
Look at all this.
Yeah, I kind of, okay, I have to say, this is only the big stuff. I left most of it back in Las Vegas.
So I don't know about you, Connie, I never come back with anything from CES except maybe a stress squeeze doll.
I come back with everything.
What? Leo, that's like the one point of going to CES is stuff.
You've got
I always come back with a Nikon bag. The yellow Nikon bag?
Yeah, the yellow Nikon bag, yeah.
I kind of came back, see, I got on the table, there's 3 laptops, pair of shoes, bunch of socks, couple $100 worth of SSDs and USBs, a pet vacuum, a really, really cool super encrypted drive, some noise-canceling headsets, and power products.
We're going to have to figure out, we'll get one every 10 minutes. This is a sleeping bag.
That's right. They call it, I think it's Big Glue.
Big glue?
Like big igloo, big glue. It's rated down. It uses that aerogel stuff that I've always wanted to play with. It's super light. And it's
very light.
It's rated for minus 40 degrees.
Oh, for this size sleeping bag, that's amazing. It's a mummy bag.
So when you take that trip down to Antarctica, that's
bringing my, what is it called?
Big glue.
I think in between each ad read, Leo, you got to just like zip yourself up 25% more. By the end, it's just going to be your
I'll
eyes.
be sweating bullets. Well, we were torn between doing that or taking this Myrkl, which is designed for people who are about to drink heavily.
Yep.
And then having a shot every 5 minutes.
It keeps your body, supposedly, from absorbing that alcohol so you can get as torn as you want to without having the hangover.
It's got electrolytes. It's what a body needs.
She's inside the Big Lou. If you
Who's
go
in the
if
Big
you go to
Lou?
the wide shot,
Who's in the big? Oh, sorry, Connie.
Oh, no, in the big glue.
Sorry, Connie.
that's going to be really warm, Connie.
Is it BIGLOU?
It's BIIGLOO. Big Lou.
Big glue. Big glue. All right, put big glue under the table for a bit.
You never got the CES swag? I mean, that really is part of the fun.
Seriously. I would get a lot of press releases.
Yeah, no, those go straight.
They
to
would
trash.
never give
Press
me
releases are the
product.
opposite of swag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about this last week when Stacy was on, because she was just back from CES. It used to be at CES that in the main lobby there'd be a FedEx booth that would ship everything back for you. I have a feeling you carried this on.
Yes, because 90% of it, they didn't give it to me because I told them, please just ship it.
Oh, so they shipped it to you.
Well, they shipped it to Rome. But these I actually wanted to play with while I was in the United States.
So I'm
Somewhere
thinking,
the Pope is receiving a VR headset.
What's this? I don't know.
Yeah, so half the stuff I sent to the Vatican, the Pope just takes. Like he's got
come on.
He's got some VR goggles right now. He's got some great gaming laptops.
The Holy Father, has he ever played any VR games?
Oh, he's really big into COD.
Call of Duty?
He's just sniping all the non-believers. Yeah.
He only uses his knife. He just sneaks up on people. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's one of them.
Very skilled.
It's one of them. Does the Pope have an RTX 4090?
Oh, I mean, no, he's got the next version, of course.
So why shoes?
Okay.
This is bothering people because there's shoes on our table,
shoes.
but they're clean. They've never been worn.
These have never been worn. These are the Kizik's. Now, last year they sent me a pair, and I thought this is going to be a joke. Why are you sending me shoes at a tech conference? But these are you can just step into them, but they're not slip-ons.
That's how most shoes work.
No, but I mean, if you get, that's what I said. I said I've seen slip-ons before, except these are crazy comfortable. It's almost as if they remold to your foot after you put your foot in.
Do they use aerogel?
No, but I mean, and they're crazy comfortable.
No, thank goodness we have a space program so we could get shoes and big glues. Because otherwise, what would we do? These are. So you wear like Birkenstocks.
No, I actually wear a pair of black Kizik's. And
really?
My feral cats, I've had the entire year to tear them up.
The Vaticats?
And they still look fine. The Vaticats.
All right. Well, the only reason I brought this one up is so I could take this off the table.
Because it's disturbing people.
I don't want to bother people.
It is pretty upsetting.
Connie, CNET normally has a very big presence at CES, a big studio, and you do a lot of live programming and stuff. Not this year, though.
No, this year was our first year back in person since the pandemic. And like everyone else, we were wanting to see what it was going to be about and if there was going to be the same energy and momentum that you've seen in years past. And so we decided to send a very small crew. And I would say that was the right call. It was there were some announcements. And as always, there's crazy stuff that people write about, smart toilets and cars with all kinds of new camouflage gear and what have you. But generally speaking, it was a year of people just sort of getting back to it versus, I think one of these years that is going to go down in history as a moment that something amazing was introduced.
There was no historic moments at CES this year.
No, there was some interesting news, but Connie hit it right on the head, which was last year, technically CES was back, but no, it was the COVID show. You had booths like LG that just had the outline of the booth on the floor. They didn't bring anybody.
Sony brought no TVs. They just did a car.
Right. So this year, it felt like a CES. It wasn't like the full-on CES where you were going to get some amazing announcements, but there were enough vendors there. They had spread into the West Hall that it kind of gave you that feeling of, okay, yeah, this is a CES. This is like an off-year CES, but it's still a CES versus last year, which was proof of concept that we can do this without having 100,000 infections.
115,000 people showed up, which was actually a lot. The normal year, some years ago, would have been 180,000. Did it feel crowded, Connie, or was it kind of sparse?
No, I mean, I think it felt pretty light. And the fact that the two of us didn't get sick, I don't know.
That's amazing.
To both of us wearing masks and maybe spraying everyone with antibacterial spray. But it felt like people were curious to see what was going on. And I think, there's pent up interest in people traveling again and wanting to go to shows. But again, I don't think there was, Schwarzenegger spoke.
What was Arnold there for?
He was talking about, gosh, I can't even remember. Look, it's not even that memorable.
The very memorable Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about gerrymandering or something.
No, he was looking at the next generation of quadcopter transportation devices, just so he could say, get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Sorry.
That was a long way
That was
to
a
go.
long reach for
long
a bad
walk.
Yeah.
Long walk.
I apologize. That's
When was the last time you guys remember that CES really wowed you?
Yeah, there's the
had
question.
something that was worth being at.
Yeah.
the Walkman was pretty awesome.
There's a new Walkman. There's a new Walkman.
That's right,
Sony has a new Walkman.
People on TikTok, the Gen Z is really into Walkman.
Right?
I don't get that. Don't you have a phone?
But it's a Walkman. I mean, they're back in, they want experiences.
So it's a nostalgia? No, it's nostalgia.
You can do everything on your phone, but isn't it more fun to have dedicated devices?
It sounds like something some twee 20-something in Brooklyn would want.
That's true.
I'm sorry, Paris.
I don't know what you're
back.
talking about.
There was a TV that attaches. There were a number of wireless TVs. There was one, and I see a CNET story about it, a wireless TV that attaches to the wall with suction cups. What could possibly go wrong?
Foolproof, as we all know.
Well, in fact, turns out if the battery dies, the TV falls off the wall.
Good. That's
the TV falls off the wall. So I'm not sure I really want this.
LG had that TV that they brought out either last year or the year of the pandemic that rolls up and down.
So they keep showing that every year. Yeah. It's $100,000.
It is expensive, yeah.
They finally are shipping it.
Yeah, that's oof.
How about that the Lightyear car?
Buzz Lightyear?
It was from a French company. They made a all-electric vehicle, super aerodynamic. It can get 47 miles just off the charge on the solar panels, the integrated solar panels of the car.
And then you have to park it for 4 days.
Well, no. So every day, 47 miles of range.
And then
you could plug it in for full range, and it only costs $300,000.
Wow. It's a bargain.
Think of all the money you'll save.
Buy two of them.
I have to think that... so, Connie, do you think it will... It's just this is the year after the pandemic, and it will come back? Or I'm starting to think, I've been thinking this for some years, that big companies like Sony just say, we don't need this to show new products. We have our own way of doing that with our own line shows or whatever.
Well, I mean, certainly you saw that happen during the pandemic. Apple can always have whatever event it wants, and it doesn't need to have it in person to get everyone to pay attention. But I would say, your question about is CES back and what's the most interesting stuff? CES is about those crazy products that you were talking about. $1 million flying car, that was another one. But that's not really what I go to the show to see. I go and see what some of the themes are that lots of people are glomming onto. And a couple of years ago, it was voice-activated assistants, right? You had Alexa in everything, like light switches and
how did that work out?
People were laughing about it, but
I'm happy
voice
that's
activation
dead.
and everything. Yeah. This year we saw lots of themes around sustainability. People talking about using solar and having things not just being made with green tech. That's kind of at the low end. It's but about building some intelligence into these devices so you can see how much energy they use, so that you can make a call about whether you want to invest in that device or not. Wireless charging. That's always something people want as an interest.
How much of that sustainability stuff do you think is just marketing, like jumping on the bandwagon, and how much of it is actually legitimate? My concern is a lot of this stuff at CES will never see the light of day.
Well, you're absolutely right. A lot of the stuff we see at CES will never see the light of day. I mean, in Berkeley, California now, the city has asked that all sorts of green technology be built into new construction. So, it's going to be solved.
There is
some of these questions.
Yeah.
Some of these questions about sustainability and green and mitigating climate will be mandatory through legislation. And so there will be a market of interest there. I know people in California are interested in solar. I just put in a solar system while there are federal subsidies in place, and while our local utility, PG&E, it's grandfathering in, if you do it before April, a certain rate reimbursement that will go dramatically down starting in April. For those of you who want to follow the Public Utility Commission in California, like I do.
Boy, I'm glad
really
to hear that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
It's going to hurt solar adoption, but there's interest in all those things. It's about what consumers want to do, right? It's where they want to spend their money.
Right.
And until that, people, if you ask someone, do you want to make the right choice and would you spend more on something that is better for the environment? They'll say, yeah, but they don't put their dollars behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. We haven't seen that yet, but that could be changing.
To some degree, just like you're going there to put your finger to the wind, that's what manufacturers are doing as well. They're saying, well, what if we made this? What if we made Myrkl? Would you buy it? And they're getting some gauge of interest before many of these things before they even get made. What is this? This looks like you bought a magic wand.
No, that was.
Wait a minute, don't tell me. Is there something?
Yeah. No. Can you figure it out? Can you figure out what that is?
It looks like a wand. It's metal. It has a grommet at one end and a little plastic thing at the other.
Don't say avacadabra.
I pulled abracadabra. No,
you just killed John.
Something's coming out.
Hold on. Wait.
Oh, it's a bottle washer.
Kind of. Almost.
Wow,
Getting there.
that's
You're getting there.
21st century technology.
This is a modern blowpipe for the sanitation focused pygmy.
I mean, you're like part of the way
this
there.
This has a plastic mouthpiece. So is it a straw?
It's a straw. Thank you. It's a super high-tech straw.
I just put my mouth on it. You might want to watch.
Well, that's what the pipe cleaner's for.
Super high-tech.
It's a straw. It's a metal straw.
Okay.
It came from a sustainability booth.
But that's sustainability, right? That's what that's all about.
That's
because
what that's
we were
about,
told
yep.
no plastics in the water. And
except for the one on the mouthpiece, right?
No, that's actually silicone.
It's
easier to clean.
Different.
Yeah,
that's in Myrkl.
That's actually the proper way to shoot a Myrkl pill. You got to put it at the end of that straw.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that looks pretty good. You need a monocle.
You do,
One
yeah.
can be whenever I'm in town, I use Myrkl before I go out and drink. All right.
Neeva Laporte, man about town.
Fine. That is very, very exciting. I mean, CES has been over now a week.
Yep.
Paris and I are going, wow, we really missed it.
You could have had a
Just saying that's very exciting in a dry voice is how I feel about all of CES.
That's it. That's it.
Just absolutely no excitement, no levels.
Father Robert has a bunch of crap in the Padre Shopping Network. Show us one thing that we're going to go, oh, that's pretty good. I would use that.
Okay. Oh, I gotta do this.
Okay. This is the
Iron Key. Iron Key. This is their vault. So the whole idea is, it's an encrypted SSD. So it's crazy fast, 250 megabytes per second either way.
Solid state drive. External. It's a USB-C.
It's got its own encryption
engine. Or is it
engine.
Thunderbolt? Is it Thunderbolt?
No, it's USB-C.
USB-C.
It's USB-C.
Okay.
It's got its own encryption engine, so that speeds the throughput. But it also has, and this is something I'm really geeky about. Do you remember bad USB?
Yeah, that was a very nasty infection that you could get from going to trade shows. No, from bad people.
Actually, yes.
From candy drops.
That would be a really good place. So, yeah, bad USB infected the firmware of a USB device.
Right.
And unfortunately,
and then it would be a bad USB.
It'd be a bad USB because
malware,
there's no way to find it.
Right.
Because the firmware is responsible for reporting on the health of the device.
Right.
So if someone can install something into the firmware, you could forever have a compromised device. They've included a piece of hardware. It's hard-coded that checks the signature of the firmware every time the device turns on. And it will not allow it to continue if it doesn't hit the checksum.
So kind of like secure boot on a Windows machine or the Chromebook.
Right. Right.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
So, I mean, it's
how much? This is from Kingston.
This is from Kingston, and they've got 480, they've got 960 gigabyte versions.
Is it much more expensive because of the special? And it's got an LCD screen and everything.
Yeah. So this actually, when you power it up, it's got the interface, so you can set a password to encrypt it. You can set guests.
I think I saw this in like a James Bond movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like
right?
that.
Yeah.
But something you would like though, the password. You can set it so that the keyboard randomizes, so that someone can't get your password just from looking at where you're pressing.
Oh yeah, instead of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, it's 1 7 3 4 9 2.
Exactly, and it just changes
cool.
every single time.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and
because otherwise you could see the fingerprints on these things.
But you can do per user, so you can have the administrative user and then per users, and once they hit a certain number of attempts, it just locks the device.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that these kinds of things make a lot of sense.
That is practical to me because I do travel a lot to places where our data is in demand.
What happens when you get to the U.S. border and the guy says, "Can you unlock your Iron?"
Yes, you use one of the client IDs that has just innocuous information.
Ah, you have plausible deniability functions.
There's stuff there. It's just nothing you want.
That's really good. That's smart. All right. Watch out, customs. I'm coming. I'm a-coming for you.
And if you get this now, we'll give you a free set of steak knives.
Actually, it ties to a story that I was reading this week. A government watchdog agency was able to crack a federal agency's passwords in minutes as part of their, I guess, security pen testing. They hired the Department of Interior. They hired somebody, the Office of the Inspector General for the Department of Interior hired somebody to test their security. The agency manages the country's federal land, national parks. It has a budget of billions of dollars and uses passwords to protect most of its systems. What a surprise. That's what we do, right? It has bucked nearly 2 decades of the government's own cybersecurity guidance, not using two-factor or hardware keys or something like the Iron Key. So the Inspector General spent $15,000, hired some bad guys who broke in within minutes. They built a password cracking rig for $15,000. They built their own hardware, a setup of a high-performance computer with a computing power designed to take on complex mathematical tasks. Within 90 minutes, they were able to recover 14,000 employee passwords. It's about 16% of all department accounts because the passwords were things like, remember, this is the Department of the Interior, National Parks 2014 and Polar Bear 65. Shoot, excuse me, I got to go change the password.
That's just a tiny bit better than Monkey 1 2 3 4.
It's Monkey 1 2 3.
Yeah.
The watchdog also recovered hundreds of accounts belonging to senior government employees and other accounts with elevated security privileges for accessing sensitive data and systems. 4,200 hashed passwords. Oh, it took them a few weeks, but they were able to get in. So that's interesting. This is an interesting way to do pen testing. They built their own. The Department of Interior built their own rig. Actually, it was 2 of them with 8 GPUs each, running multiple open source containers. They can bring up to 8 GPUs online, assign them tasks. Benchmarks of 240 gigahashes per second, 240 billion hashes per second.
It's basically a dictionary attack.
Per second.
Right.
Well, and the reason this comes up, of course, obviously, this is I'm glad they pen tested this. But the reason this comes up is because of the LastPass breach.
Right.
A lot of people are now starting to worry about their password manager and how well secured it is and whether they're using good passwords.
You can't trust the hash anymore because what this team did was they actually did field work before they did the attempt where they reverse engineered some common hashes.
They did basically a rainbow table,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. So then they can just take that and they compare it against the hashes until they find the matches, and they know, okay, this is probably part of that string. This is probably part of that string. Now, it should be said that the ones that were easiest to crack, of course, were the ones that were like Monkey 1 2 3. But the ones that were more sophisticated, they were still able to crack a couple of days and weeks later. Which, again, means for $15,000, you can now build yourself a rig that can get you into pretty much every hash file that you need to get into.
The first Steve Gibson was telling me this. The first thing crackers add to their password hash dictionaries is the top 1,000 passwords.
Yep.
And it turned out 5% of all the passwords of the Department of the Interior included some variation of the word password.
Naturally.
No.
Leo, I think we're about
not
to
what
have
you
something
want.
warm here.
But Falcon Heavy, the Space Force mission is about to, there it goes. Wow, that was good timing. Thank you, Father Robert. What are they doing? This is a secret mission for the Space Force? Geosynchronous orbit satellite to watch over us.
So
to
Steve
make
Carroll's
sure we're
going
all
to be in
safe.
that thing? Is that?
Yeah, Steve
If you look
Farrell's in there.
closely, Jeff Bezos is just tied to the top. You know?
But this is the second launch of the Falcon Heavy. We haven't seen too many of these. Second, right?
Why don't we
the
go
one
back
that will
to the
bring
fun
Artemis
ones?
to the moon? No, this is a different one.
I think this is
Spaceship.
delivering a Tesla to the moon.
Thank you. What is Elon up to these days? I haven't heard from him lately. Is he doing anything?
Well, he's flying from San
he's
Francisco
not running
to
any
Oakland.
businesses.
That was another big story this week. It's unclear whether this was done on purpose or by accident. But according to Aaron Wu writing for The Information, Twitter intentionally suspended third-party apps, the API, including Tweetbot. Thursday night, I started seeing messages all over, especially on our Mastodon account, twit.social, saying, what the heck? My third-party app is just not logging in. The Information, Aaron Wu got internal messages that lead one to believe that this was intentional on Twitter's part.
My bot stopped working.
Oh, you had a bot?
I built
Used
a bot.
the API.
You're right. I used the API. And some of it I did screen scraping, and it just started freaking out. It can no longer do its job, so I had to turn it off.
Interestingly,
Hey, but all the bots have been defeated, so
yeah,
it's
no more bots.
ultimately,
Turn off the API.
Really smart.
Twitterific said it was still working, but many of the other ones, including a Tweetbot, which is very popular, Twitterific, they said that was working, but then I've seen the information says that it's not. Phoenix for Twitter, Echophone,
Tweet delete
Birdie.
is down as well.
Oh, it's good. I deleted all my tweets already.
I know, it's quite bad.
Well, there's a positive side to the story, and that's that it seems that Twitter did it on purpose rather than this accidentally happening because something they changed.
Here's what the Information learned. They saw a internal Slack message from a senior software engineer on Thursday night saying, quote, third-party app suspensions are intentional. Yesterday, the Information tried to contact that engineer. He refused comment. The internal messages I'm reading from Wu's story seen by the Information also show that Twitter employees have been discussing when the decision would be announced publicly. Well, not yet. No one. It's one of those big mysteries. A Twitter employee working
I think part of it is who would be announcing these things. Twitter has a skeleton staff and almost nobody from comms.
They have no
I mean,
comms.
no one from
Yep.
comms is left.
No PR, no comms.
And
HR is a skeleton.
apparently the API engineering team is mostly gone as well.
Yep.
So
they were in the first round.
yeah, who would announce this? I don't know. A Twitter employee working on product partnerships asked on Friday morning when employees could expect a list of approved talking points. You're all in comms now. For questions from partners related to third-party clients' revoked access. Do you want to talk about how the Information gets this information, Paris, or is that a state secret?
I mean, I guess it's somewhat a state secret, but it's the same as all I think journalism happens. We have reporters who their job is to build up kind of networks of great sources, people either inside the company or people familiar with these decisions, and they're in constant contact. And so I remember kind of seeing in certain groups with colleagues over the weekend of news breaking internally that this was happening, and they turned that into a story. I think especially Aaron Wu, the reporter who did this, has been producing really fantastic work for us on the Twitter beat. And I think that it's kind of, so many journalists have, because it is such the story is ever changing, and there are employees constantly on the ins and outs with Twitter leadership that are willing to talk to the press about what's going on.
That's basically what's happening there.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing these Slack messages because they sent you screenshots or the like.
Something like that, yeah.
Paul Haddad, who works for Tapbots and writes Tweetbot, tooted on Mastodon. Almost 24 hours later, still no unofficial info from inside Twitter. I'm going to continue as if this was all done on purpose. And Paul, now there's evidence it was. Mm-hmm. What now? So Tapbots has a Mastodon client, which is in beta right now, called Ivory. I don't use it, but a lot of people who use it say it's very good. He says, well, we're going to go into hyper mode with just the absolute minimum 3 to 4 things that have to be done, finished up, and then off to Apple. Probably going to, in other words, to get an app approval so it can be in the App Store. Probably going to be a bunch of things I'm not super happy with, but I guess we'll fix it in post. Hopefully everyone knows what we're capable of with and can live with some, hopefully not long-lived, rough edges and missing features. You know, Tweetbot's amazing.
Yeah.
Ivory will be amazing.
But what's the long game here? So, I mean, is this just because Musk wants to sell a third-party app? He wants to reduce the amount of expenses for accessing for the API. I mean, what's the cause here? The third-party support for Twitter has been something that really drove the adoption of Twitter. So are we just now saying, well, we're done, we've got all the audience we want, and thank you very much?
Well, remember, this is not the first time Twitter did this. They did it some years ago, and actually, I think Jack Dorsey has later said that was a huge mistake to cut off the third-party API. I suspect it's just as simple as we want you to use our webpage and our app.
Okay.
And if you, the new Twitter, we haven't talked about Twitter in some time, so I apologize for people who thought this was an Elon Musk free zone. But occasionally we kind of have to mention this.
You smell that? That's the Musk.
Oh, no.
Such an aroma.
You've been sprayed.
Well, and I don't use Twitter anymore, so I'll defer to the...
You're a toot man now?
I'm a tutor. We have our own Mastodon instance. We have for years.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
And I thought, well, you know, I can easily leave Twitter without any consequence. Although I have more than 500,000 followers, some of whom are actually humans. And
was the breaking point when Musk started calling himself the chief twit?
That was a big one. Wasn't happy. That's the name I've used on my socials since 2007. Somebody must have told Elon, because he stopped pretty quickly, but that didn't mean that he isn't still being called that by mainstream media. So he changed. It looks like at the top of the Twitter now, used to be you could go chronological or latest, or home.
Did they change
which
that?
Was there's no more there. That little twinkly button is gone.
Oh no!
You now have very TikTok-like for you and following.
And I mean, I don't know about if either of you guys who are using Twitter have the same issue, but for me, I spend too much time on Twitter. But my For You kind of feed is almost all people that I do not follow. It's all like that. We're seeing just likes from people I follow. So instead of popular tweets from accounts that I'm following, it is mostly, tweets liked by people I follow or recommended tweets from different categories. So in order basically to see anybody's tweets that I follow, I have to just do chronological, which is not what I want most of the time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's going on at Twitter, because that's how you started this discussion. Elon Musk, we've seen in the past 2 weeks, has been the person on the planet who's lost more wealth in a short amount of time than anyone else, $200 billion. Tesla's shares are tanking. CNET wrote a story back in December how there was a trend among Tesla owners who were just not going to renew their leases or backing away because they just didn't like what he was doing. And I think what you're saying is that he's, it's easy Monday morning quarterback how to run a social media site when you're standing on the outside, but there's a totally different story when you're inside trying to make policy and do things and work. And so what we're seeing is the supposed genius of this man is not, that genius when it comes to a social media site. And either he's getting bored with it and, or there's a communication breakdown where people are not quite sure what they need to do. I mean, he's supposedly looking for somebody else to run it, right? That's what we keep waiting to hear, who's now going to step in and run it because the internet voted him out. So it's kind of
seems like he's ignoring.
mess,
by
right?
the way, it seems like he's kind of ignoring the results of that poll.
I think it's notable that even after that, he was like, yeah, if I find someone new to be CEO of Twitter, they'll be CEO, but I'm going to run all the tech and like platforms.
I'm going to still run it.
Sure. Yeah, CEO.
So Scooter X in our chat room says, tell me if this is still the case, Scooter X, that some of these third-party clients are working again. I see your tweet. I don't have a dog in this hunt anymore, and I'm very happy that I don't. But I think there's still a lot of people who care deeply about what happens to Twitter, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why you're getting leaks from the company. I mean, I'm a longtime Apple reporter who in the early days when I was working at this place called Mac Week, we'd have all these great stories and people were like, why is all this stuff leaking? And it wasn't leaking because people were malicious. It's because they loved the company and they wanted to see it get better and do better. And so you're seeing some people talking about what's happening inside Twitter, not because they want to tear it down. It's because they can't believe it and they want someone to come and help save it or rescue or create enough outside momentum to get some of the crazy stuff stopped.
You know, I stepped away entirely from Twitter in December leading up to CES for like 6 weeks. And it was wonderful. It was so, I focused on Mastodon, on the
I love
the
you
Twit
in
instance.
our Mastodon.
Yeah, it's a fun community. When I came back, I didn't really miss having access to a larger audience. I did miss some of the members of the community that I had built up on Twitter. Now, if they were to come over to Mastodon, there would be no reason for me to go back to Twitter. That's the only reason why I still care about that company, because there are some people who I can only connect with over Twitter. That's it.
I feel like there's a lesson that needs to be learned here that we have, many of us have, but some of us have not yet learned, which is that at least when it comes to social, this kind of centralized single owner company is ultimately not good for you, whether it's Facebook. Look what they're doing to Instagram. Is anybody happy with the new Instagram? Elon Musk at Twitter. I feel like these companies, because their model is not to create a nice conversation.
Correct.
Their whole business model is to create furor so that it's sticky, so it's engaging. And as a result, you get, I think, things that are bad for our polity. I think they're bad for society. I don't think they're good for us. Whereas these decentralized, and I think it's more than just decentralized social networks. Honestly, I think it's also open source. That this is maybe the watershed moment. Maybe I'm being a pie-eyed optimist. I also believe it was going to be the year of the Linux desktop in 1924. But I think that this may be the watershed moment where we start to realize that computing should not be owned by any company.
I would hope so.
That blogs should proliferate. Everybody should have their own blog. That social networks should be diverse and federated. That it doesn't make sense for one company to dominate. It's bad for us.
Except, and we did a big meeting in the Vatican on this. It's common good in the digital age.
Exactly. If anybody should support open source, it's the Vatican.
And actually, they asked me about that. They said, "What is so sticky about Facebook or Twitter or any of the other social media services?" You know, we had mass communications beforehand.
Can you say Satan?
Well, no. The key word was
that's what came to mind. I'm sorry.
The key word was outrage.
Yeah, it is. That's
social media
that's how they make you.
sells on outrage because outrage spreads so fast, and outrage motivates more than anything else. Because if I can get righteously indignant about somebody else, about what someone else did or what someone else said, that spreads. That spreads. Now, if I write this wonderful story about how there's a woman in Philadelphia who is taking care of homeless children, that will get like maybe a day of coverage. But if I write about how there's a woman in Pennsylvania who has abused homeless children, oh my God, she will be the most famous person ever.
Local news has never been about good news. Newspapers have never been about good news.
But it's reach.
If you want people to read your paper or watch your TV show, you get them. It doesn't have to always be anger, but you get them revved up somehow.
But the loop, the feedback cycle on social media, the fact that you can get that anger cycle so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's those little mini hits of dopamine.
So I guess that's my question. Why are we trying to save Twitter?
It's community. Honestly, it's the community.
Because that's where your friends are.
Yeah. Now,
that's to me, that's their heroin dealer's hook.
Yes.
That's what they're saying. Well, you don't want to lose your friends. And honestly, all it would take is for us to move.
It would take us, but some people, a lot of people, are invested in the years, decade for some.
Nobody
that
wants
they
to
put into
read your
developing
old
that.
tweets.
Nobody does. But if I've got an account with 100,000 followers and I really put time into developing
Well, that makes
100,000
sense
followers, I'm not going to just abandon
Well,
them.
I'm sure for a brand, Connie, that's a big part of it. I mean, I would love to see CNET say, no more Twitter, it's ridiculous. But you can't do that. We don't even do that. Twit doesn't even do that.
You tried to do that.
I did it, but I can't get the company to do it.
So as somebody who's been in the tech industry for a long time, things come and go, right? And right now, should we save Twitter? I don't know. I mean, yeah, am I used to it? Do I know how it works? Have brands built communities? But it's also, there's a lot of negativity around there. And we saw a lot of, bad things happen to brands when anybody could get verified,
That's
right,
true.
as a brand and started putting out misinformation.
There are a few brands
So,
who wish they weren't on Twitter. Yeah.
that's right. So I think what we're looking at, I agree with everything that's been said about the toxicity that social media has brought to the world, and all of us spending way too much time looking down and being in these echo chambers that are being hijacked by disinformation and propagandists and outrage cycle drivers. So then the question becomes, what is the next thing that might inspire and engage people? For a while, everyone thought it was going to be TikTok, just these short little moments that made you laugh. But then there's the Chinese government behind them, and who's collecting the data and for what purpose? I'm not saying TikTok is not going to be successful or continue to have a lot of traffic, but what's the idea behind it, right? And what's the next level of social engagement that we want to have or that we want to walk away from? So that's the discussions that I think are going to start, especially if more governments, Europe will be ahead of us in the US, start looking at these big tech giants and saying, no, we don't want you to have all that power. We want you to want to rein you in some areas. We're just at the beginning of that.
Connie, can I invite you to our next conference in the Vatican?
Yeah, no kidding.
I would absolutely, as a good Catholic, I would love to come.
Okay. I've even gotten an apartment for you. I'll offer you the same apartment that I've been offering Leo for the last 5 years.
I'm happy to come. But look, technology, I say this all the time. Technology is a means to an end. It's not an end. And at the beginning, the promise of places like Twitter and Facebook was to connect people in a more easy way, where you got out of touch with, your high school classmates or your college classmates, and now you can get back in touch with them. Or you want to create communities, who wants to go to a movie night or have a potluck. That was the promise. It's been co-opted by people for nefarious purposes. So the technology inherently isn't bad. It's how it's being co-opted and used by people.
And part of that is that we've kind of let it happen. We just let it, whatever happens, happens. I love the idea of sitting back like you're doing in the church and saying, well, let's be more conscious about what we do next and think about its impacts. I hate to see, and I do think there's a certain amount of moral panic, for instance, around TikTok. I hate to see people say, well, it's big tech, so it's bad.
Right.
But at the same time, I think little tech is better. I really do. I think personal tech is better. Small scale is better. And maybe it's time to wean ourselves off of this adrenaline dopamine hit that we get from going to places like Twitter. You go to Mastodon, it's not quite so exciting. There's no buzz. It's just conversations. Mm-hmm. It's pictures of the Vaticats. It's kind of pleasant in a way that Twitter isn't. And maybe we just need to get used to, it's like a sugar addict. At first, it's very hard not to eat stuff loaded with sugar, but I don't know.
One of the issues,
I feel like there's a better way,
is a one channel. So one channel was a strategy that has been developed by enterprise communications companies that allowed companies to have, quote unquote, one channel to touch bases with their customers. And that meant it combined the feeds from social media, from their own internal communication systems, emails, et cetera, et cetera.
Internally, that's what they saw.
Right. So they wanted the customer to be able to move from one type of communication to another, and you continue the conversation.
Is that still
That's still going. That's
That's
going.
good. I like that idea.
But social media, specifically Twitter, was a huge part of that one-channel strategy. So if you lose that, that's billions of dollars that has been invested that they lose. So they're heavily invested.
Of course, Twitter wants to silo it.
Right.
Twitter
Of course.
doesn't want you to have one channel.
No,
they want
you to pay
be
them
Twitter.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a little break. Lots more to talk about and a lot of crappy gadgets still, including a pet vacuum.
It's for Burke.
This is good stuff.
He needs a haircut.
I love it. Father Robert Ballecer, the digital Jesuit, is here. Jesuit Pilgrimage. This is your new app?
Yeah, so we were working on this for a while. It came out of an evening of, hey, we're bored. What do you want to do? And someone said, hey, why don't we...
Wait a minute. What, you and the Pope and some cardinals sitting around?
Kind of. They wanted a digital project. And I said, how about something super simple? At one point, someone wanted
This is interesting
Pokemon
because
Go.
this is actually the church trying to figure out how do we stay relevant in a digital age.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I said, let's make an app.
Pokemon Go wouldn't be bad.
But yeah,
what would you search for?
I'm not going to be throwing
Saints?
Pokeballs at saints. I mean, come on. I'm not going to catch them all. But it
Gotta
just,
catch them all.
we just took people through the different sites of the
Wait
pilgrimage
a
of
minute.
St.
Your
Ignatius.
name is on this.
It is. It is.
This is your app.
I know. That actually...
iPad and iPhone.
iPad, iPhone. It's on
Is
Android.
there Android too?
Of course there is.
So what do you do?
We have... It geolocates. So if
You
someone...
have an app. You buried the lead, dude.
Yeah, I know. But I do lots of things. But let's say you're actually visiting the pilgrimage sites. The app will automatically know that you're there, and it will bring up information about the site, where you should go. It will give you the meditations that St. Ignatius himself did. It will show you 360 views.
As you're there.
As you're there, right.
When did St. Ignatius live?
Back in the 1500s.
Okay.
So,
well, that's
yeah.
not that long ago. I mean, Jesus was a couple of thousand years
Exactly.
ago.
So, yeah.
So, and SI, the Society of Jesus, is
yeah.
founded by St. Ignatius.
Correct. That was our founder. And actually, if you look through the app and you follow the pilgrimage sites that he was at, you kind of get an idea of why we ended up the way we are.
Plus, you're going to get some great Italian food.
I should,
You have restaurants in this.
It's an open-ended development, and we've been thinking about what else we wanted to add now that the core functionality works.
It's not all in Italy. Some of it's.
May I suggest a cook with the Pope
Cook with
Yes.
the Pope.
segment?
I could-
like a
with the
little
Pope.
front
Do
to
that.
camera.
Wait, okay,
Yeah.
you can tell
Where
us.
we go.
What does the Holy Father like to eat?
He's okay. Well, he's Argentinian,
Right?
and Argentinian food is
Beef.
It's beef.
He
It's
likes his
meat.
beef.
He likes a good meat.
What is the cheese dish where they bake the cheese? It's so good.
Yes, we don't
he eat
have that?
that?
It's too rich.
Oh yeah, it's
Too
too
rich.
rich. Yeah.
But he honestly, and there's a chance that he might be in the house when you're there. He is one of the nicest, most unassuming people you've ever
You've
met.
told me some stories, and mostly I'm sure not for public consumption,
Yeah.
but that really are like, wow, that's kind of cool.
I'm still trying to get him on our Dungeons and Dragons crew.
You guys go down in the catacombs.
What class do you think the Pope would be?
He's
chaotic
going to be a
evil.
cleric.
No, he's a cleric.
Absolutely.
And he's
The Pope just decides barbarian.
he likes to tank. You can't blame him.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Now,
right?
see, our D20 sessions are in an actual catacomb.
Yeah.
So if you
You
ever play
told
with
me
us,
that.
So
You
sick.
told me once that you guys were down there, and there's some priests, but there's some. Are there cardinals, bishops?
yeah, a couple.
high-ranking
Yeah,
members of the church there.
We just
Playing a
go
little
through.
D&D. Who is the dungeon master?
I was the GM.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his Holy Father comes wandering
We
by.
were a little loud.
You were loud, and he heard you.
He heard us.
And he came down to see what the ruckus
Just wanted
was
to know
in the
what was
catacombs.
going on.
Like, are they rising from the dead? What's going on?
Well, because when you make noise down there, you don't know where it's coming up. Those tunnels go everywhere.
Yeah. So he didn't like send a Swiss guard down.
No, that would have ended differently and loudly with bullets.
He put his pontifical slippers on, which are beautiful, by the way.
Yes.
And came down himself.
He wears Uggs.
No, stop it.
Papal Uggs.
Maple Uggs. And what did he say?
Pugs.
I just wanted to know what was going on. He's just smiling. I was like, okay, all right, well, good night.
Keep it down, boys.
It was actually right before that. One of the players had hit a D20 and did an impossible move, and so everyone was just
like,
ah! Right.
Now he's a soccer fan, so he's used to this kind of ups.
Argentina.
He's
Argentina.
Yeah. He's very happy right now.
Very happy.
Yeah. Did he watch the World Cup?
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone in Italy watched it, even though Italy wasn't playing in the World Cup.
Yeah. But I forgot he was Argentinian, so he's a messy man.
Yes, and even the non-Argentinian fans were happy. They're like, look, Messi deserved.
Yeah.
This is his
Finally.
thing. This is the way to end his career.
Yeah. So.
But if he comes back next year, he's fair game.
All right, we're going to take a little break. More stories of the Vatican catacombs coming up. Also great to have Connie Guglielmo here, editor-in-chief of CNET, like the big shot, the person in charge. So nice to have you. We really appreciate you taking some time to be with us. And of
My
course,
pleasure.
from beautiful Brooklyn, New York, where she has purple, what is it, magenta plants behind her?
I like that.
Listen, I got a little fun light back there.
It's not a
Trying to
plant.
keep
It looks like your
for you.
plant is
I mean, there is
magenta.
a plant. There is also kind of a like a neon light back there. That's
I see.
shining
It's
up.
melding with the plant, and then it looks like you have a shrine in your fireplace. I don't want to say
I
anything.
do. It's a little lamp that is in the shape of a man with a strategically placed light switch.
So right now he is very on.
He is so on right now.
Okay, got it.
Paris Martineau from The Information. Oh, I love it. We'll have more in just a bit. Our show today brought to you by... Is it on his nose?
Odd show.
Is
I
his-
like
his
this.
nose? Is that where the switch
No,
is?
that's not his nose.
Just think a little hard about it.
No, don't think too hard about it. No. Reject the thought.
This episode of Twit brought to you by a new sponsor, Welcoming Decisions. Decisions is super cool. I spent some time with the Decisions team, and I really like this stuff. Decisions gives IT and business experts the tools they need to automate anything in your company, all within one no-code platform. Every business, every boss, every C-level executive says, if I could just get this information automated, if they could just have, can I just have like a dashboard with this information? How do we get our business rules encapsulated in such a way that we can incorporate this into our, and this is how you do it, Decisions. It can fix any business process and prepare you to withstand economic uncertainty. Resilience to the recession requires a deliberate management of resources and the flexibility to adapt at a moment's notice. Now is the time to take a look at Decisions. Their no-code environment makes it easy for your team to get together, build workflows, adjust them, fine-tune them, dynamic forms, your decisioning processes, all your business rules to fit in with your unique and, you know what, ever-changing business needs, because it's easy to adjust, to adapt. This is really important with today's IT talent shortage, right? You can't just go downstairs and say, hey, guys, could you code something up for me? No. Not everybody has a Robert Ballecer there. Decisions process automation software is a complete toolkit. So, in this business, for so long, you've got domain expertise, and then you've got the technology expertise, and it's often two different people, and there's this issue where you communicate, and it's not clear, and you don't get quite what you wanted. With Decisions, you can do your own coding. If you're the domain expert, this is for you. Their no-code platform is so powerful. It's got robust rules, workflow engines, a host of pre-built integrations. And, you'll love these because you can connect to your legacy systems through their API, but you don't have to code it. You just drag and drop a visual interface design. So these integrations are great. You can say, well, let's pull from this, let's pull from that, let's report to here. You could deploy it on-prem, or you can have Decisions in the cloud. Decisions was very helpful. I have to tell you, over the last few years during the pandemic, a lot of companies, were caught flat-footed, but Decisions customers, they could respond. I'll give you a perfect example. Remember the PPP loan thing? You had these banks were told, okay, we're going to do PPP loans. You ready? What do you mean? You ready? They're one of the largest private banks in the country. When this was announced, built an entire PPP loan application for small business in 2 days on Decisions. As a result, they were first to market, issued $1 billion in loans before anybody even started their app. That's the kind of thing this kind of nimble architecture could do for you. 2 days. Decisions lets you customize workflows to automate the small decisions. That's why I guess they call it that. Producing faster results with greater accuracy, allowing your team to focus on all the important decisions. Scale your business to better serve your customers while reducing operational costs, saving your team valuable time. I can go on and on. There's so many ways people are using decisions, so many things. I'll give you an example. Otis Elevator. You've heard of them. I didn't realize they were this big. 2 million elevators all over the world. And, of course, a lot of those elevators are using different automation systems. They don't talk to one another, right? Otis needed a way to check every one of those 2 million elevators every single day. They call it a daily pulse check. So that they will know ahead of time before an elevator is having problems. You don't want to find out after somebody's stuck in it or after the elevator fails. You want to know ahead of time so you can fix it and have a great uptime. So that's what they did. They used decisions to create automation software that handles all the integrations with the disparate systems. So they get their daily pulse check, 2 million units every single day, thanks to decisions. That is a really good example of how this kind of software can transform your business process. And you'll be glad, if you ride in an Otis elevator, you'll be glad to know they're keeping an eye on things, right? As the recession approaches, the durability of a business's foundation will directly impact its performance and its ability to survive. How strong is your foundation? Are you ready? Even if everything goes great. There's always something. There's always something. Decisions Automation Platform provides a solution to any business challenge, automating anything, changing everything to improve your company's speed to market, improve your financial growth, your operational success. Decisions helps industry leaders alleviate bottlenecks and automate pain points in their business so you can do what's best to change the world and build your business. To learn more about Decisions, no-code automation platform. This is the one, by the way. This is amazing. Scope your free proof of concept. Just go to decisions.com/twit. DECISIONS, decisions, just like the word, .com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. I welcome them. I had a great conversation with this team, and they blew me away. They showed me example after example. You'll find it at the website, too. Decisions.com/twit. I think you'll be very impressed. We thank them so much for supporting our show, and thank you for supporting our show by going to that address so they know, oh, yeah, they saw it on Twit. Decisions.com/twit. That's very important to us. Thank you, Decisions. All right, what else you got, Father Robert?
Oh, you know what?
I'm trying to do a commercial, and he's setting up a vacuum cleaner.
Okay. I do have to show this off because this was one of these things where, the only reason why I went up to their suite was because they had one of the performers from NWA. He was up there, and
a rap star.
Yeah, rap star, and they had some really good food, and I was looking for some evening entertainment, and then they did this. This is their P2.
If you have pets, you know the one downside to a pet is what? Fur everywhere.
Lots and lots of fur. So they released this P1 early last year. It was a surprise hit. They sold like 50,000 units, sold out the entire run.
Just for pets.
It's just for pets.
Not the pet itself.
Not the pet itself.
Pet owners, I should say.
The pet owners.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bunch of attachments that connect to this thing that have a groomer, a clipper, a brush.
Oh.
And all the hair goes straight into the vacuum.
I got to get this for Lisa.
No, I wanted it for Burke.
Oh, Burke needs it.
He's kind of shaggy.
He's got a lot of hair.
But the killer thing is when you turn this thing on.
Unless we get Burke hair everywhere.
It's nearly silent. It's nearly silent, so you don't scare away the pets.
Nice.
I mean, come on, it's practical tech. Yeah, it's not earth-shattering, but
who's this from? What's the name of the company?
Neekasa, Neekasa, Neekasa.
Neekasa is Sukasa.
Neekasa is Sukasa. It's I think right now they're still doing their CES special thing. So if you go on Amazon, it's like $129. And anyone who's ever bought a Dyson knows
that's a good deal.
That's a really good deal.
You can't get a Dyson bag for $129.
Right. But I've already played with one of these with the Vaticats, and they're feral, but they don't run.
They're not scared of it.
They're not scared of it. I thought they would be out of their minds. Go figure. Now
it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Just put P2 vacuum, P2 Pro,
VACUUM.
Remove the Neekasa.
Don't do Neekasa.
And it's Neakasa.
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 I don't see it.
Oh, where did it go? I know it's there somewhere.
You know what? This is problematic because I think what's happening is all the other vacuum cleaners have bought
they're copying
placement, and you don't see them.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
The issue is that it doesn't have an umlaut.
NEAKASA.
Oh, NEA, National Education Administration.
Now, I really hoped Burke was going to be here because I kind of wanted to do a clipping.
There's
live.
something wrong with my Amazon.
No, it's
apparently,
one word. NEAKASA.
Okay. I'm so bad at this.
KASA.
Well, if they had a normal name, I could find it. Are they Japanese?
No,
Where are they
they're
from?
located in Los Angeles. Why is it not showing up?
I think Amazon is doing something
I
here.
think Amazon doesn't want you to find it.
Amazon does not want me to buy this.
It's on my computer.
How come it's coming up on yours and not on mine?
You'd be too powerful if you had this. If you
Right.
had the ability to.
They don't
suck it
want me
out.
to have the ability.
The chat room
Ant
found it.
found it. Ant has 2 dogs. He needs it. I don't know what's wrong with
I kind of wanted to get one of these
This
for a
tells me
corgi.
something. This tells me that Amazon is modifying the results for me because I'm logged in.
I saw it in real time.
Yeah.
It actually changed the term that you put in. That's a weird thing.
$129
The
bucks.
dog and the cat do not come with the vacuum, by the way.
Let me ask
What?
Connie in Paris
I know,
this.
right?
Would this be a good anniversary gift for my wife?
Absolutely not.
I'm not going to ask the
Only,
next.
only if you want her to leave you.
Okay. I don't want that. Okay. Never mind.
my
Honey,
gosh.
look what I got you.
A vacuum. Wow, that sounds bad.
That doesn't sound good. Even if it's
I'm celibate, and I know that's danger zone. That's
even the priest knows.
That'd
you
be like,
shouldn't do
oh,
that.
for your anniversary, I got you a new stove. It's the same kind of vibe.
I was actually thinking because I want to get an induction stovetop, but
wait. What,
she should give
are you
me that.
electric right now or gas?
Gas.
You're gas, and you want to get induction.
Wow.
What do you have, Paris?
I rent, so I have
You
gas
have what they
and
give
get
you.
poisoned a bit every time I make any food. Today I tried to cook some French toast. My apartment smelled awful for a while afterwards. I'm probably losing brain cells.
It's worse in the winter because you can't open the windows, right? It's freezing.
Is induction better?
not
I thought
great.
induction
Induction's
was always
much better.
secondary to gas.
Oh, they see the
Have
gas.
you not? Okay, this is because you guys are not on Twitter. You haven't seen the great gas debate that's been going on lately.
I bet Ted Cruz has something to say about gas.
Oh, I'm sure Matt Gaetz has like 7 tweets on gas right now.
So what happened was
Actually,
go ahead.
DeSantis does.
Ron
yes.
DeSantis is going to pass a law in Florida banning the banning of gas. Can you ban a ban?
Okay, well,
Yeah?
There
luck
was a
with that.
Try hard enough.
study. So this came out of the I can't. Was it the who was it? Was the EPA? There was a study that is kind of weak that a certain percentage of childhood asthma, like 16%, is caused by gas stoves, by natural gas. And the president actually had to put out a statement, no, we are not banning gas stoves. Nevertheless, there are the loyal opposition has been jumping on this, saying, you see, next they're going to come for the stoves.
So let me get this straight. All the science pointing at masks and vaccinations being useful is not going to make a dent in his head,
Yeah,
but a study about how gas causes asthma?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. I'm done.
But honestly, I don't want to. I would like to get rid of natural gas in my house for other reasons, and I want an induction stovetop. But Amazon won't let me find those either. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my Amazon. I don't know. Hey, Scooter X, did you check to see if your third-party tweets were going through or no? I'm just curious. All right. Scooter X, who is normally quite talkative, seems to have abandoned us.
Because
gone.
he's cooking on his gas stove right
Gas
now.
stove.
He's passed out in his home right now,
Right.
Scooter X.
He's got asthma and has carbon monoxide poisoning in his home because of gas.
Now, Connie, I don't want to put you on the spot, but since you're here, we should probably ask you about ChatGPT. CNET use ChatGPT to write. No, you don't want to talk about this.
No, I'm totally happy to talk about it. We didn't use ChatGPT, though.
Oh, use something else. Use
Go ahead.
75 articles. Now, this is the report, and that's why you're here. No, it's not why you're here. But now that you're here, I'm going to definitely ask you about it. was AI of some sort was used to write articles about, it was about personal finance. Now, I have to say, I think CNET handled it properly, saying, in fact, they had a human review everything and all of that. Oh, here's your post. Look at that. Let's look at your post. And this is how it came out, I think. Yes.
AI assist. Okay, that's
so. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah. So we have been using one team at CNET, the personal money team, has been testing the use of an AI to write what we call basic explainers, like what is a credit card, what is compound interest, since the middle of November. And the stories had a byline, and if you clicked on it, it was CNET Money Staff. And if you clicked on it, it said it was created in part with an automated technology, an AI
says it right
engine.
here. Yeah. Reviewed, fact-checked, and edited by our staff, so by humans.
So we changed it was a hover before, and then somebody, found that we had been doing this. It wasn't a secret, but we didn't pre-announce that we were doing this. We didn't put out a press release.
But that's a good way to test it, right? To see,
Well, it depends on your point of view. But we did not pre-announce it. I mean, we told the staff internally that we were looking at an AI engine, and obviously the crew in this on the money team knew what was going on, and everything was checked and reviewed by an editor, because the experiment that we're doing, which is ongoing, it's not done, is, there's all this hype around this technology. How can it help you? And our model was, can it help for some kinds of stories where we don't have staff to write? And does it actually save time for these editors? How long does it take to edit pieces? So we're going to be looking at all of that. Like, I think almost every media company is looking at different ways to get an assist from tech. And I will say, as a longtime tech journalist, I worked at Bloomberg a decade ago. There has been AI technology helping assist stories. It's just at various levels. ChatGPT is on this other extreme, which people have been talking about, like writing Shakespeare for you instead of Shakespeare. And that's not what I'm talking about here at all. But, there have been stories that are auto-written on the stock market. Prices go up, prices go down, consumer index goes up, consumer index goes down. Those things have been going on for a very long time.
Sports stories, too, have been written by computers for years. I mean, this has been going on for years. But that's because they're very mechanical, You can look at a box score and write that story. A computer can write that story. Same thing with financial stories for the most part.
So we don't know the answer yet to whether it's worthwhile, but we're trying to find a use case. And in this case, the use case was these basic explainers that, we have a staff of really smart, talented reporters. And if I said to them, could you write a basic explainer, or could you write an in-depth feature and go and interview people? I know where they want to spend their time. But you have to have some of those basic explainers are valuable. It's just a matter of resources. So that's what the test was. And that's what I wrote in that blog post. And anyone can read for themselves.
Was this your idea?
It was not my idea. I am, like most journalists, I am slow to adopt new technology.
Yeah.
I always like to kick the tires and test things and understand the implications. But we are at about the beginning of a process with some of this AI tech, like I said, to auto-insert numbers and stories, right? We report on mortgage rates as part of that money team. Those numbers are auto-inserted, just like stock prices are inserted. So it's part of a process of looking at that technology that I think warrants the same kind of scrutiny that CNET would give to any other technology. And I linked to some examples of stories there where we looked at duplex when it first came out, and we're like, is this Google duplex a good idea or not? I went and looked at the Magic Leap headset when it was announced. Is it BS or is it brilliant? Like, this is what we do, and I hope other people are doing as well, because you can be afraid of the future and what tech might bring, or you can be part of helping define how to usher it in. So
I found a use case.
What's that?
I actually wrote about it for Amy Webb's Future Today Institute. using ChatGPT 3, I was able to create a honeypot. So
the code or
yeah. So we used the bot and populated it. It's
content from Chat.
Well, content specifically relating to network topology.
Oh, interesting.
So if someone was trying to hack the network, rather than denying them like a traditional IPS would, just blocking them at the source so they can't get into the network, it would actually simulate an intrusion. So someone thinks they're in the network, and it's entirely a fiction created by ChatGPT 3. And it's
plausible.
It's plausible. And this instance I was using wasn't specifically tuned for that, but it still gave an incredible simulation of, this is what an intrusion would look like. So imagine that. Your network defense is just making up stuff on the fly so that someone attacking your network.
I think there's lots of
it's
cool and appropriate uses for. Do you want to talk about how you did it, Connie, or is that a state secret?
Oh, we're not talking about it beyond what I wrote in that.
Except that it was not
post.
It was not ChatGPT.
No, it was.
Okay, but there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of tools like ChatGPT is by no means unique. Paris, as a reporter, what's your attitude towards this? I mean, do you worry that this might affect your living?
Not really. I'm not particularly worried that it would affect my living because I think the sort of journalism, I think it's just what Connie said. Most reporters probably don't want to spend their time doing the sort of necessary but maybe slightly more rote work and part of journalism. And instead, they'd rather spend their time working on larger features or bigger reporting projects. And I think that these sort of tools can be a great way to augment your workflow. Where instead of, I had worked at publications where you'd have to not churn out a bunch of content, but for lack of a better word, churn out a bunch of content because that's part of the job.
Right.
And if you had a way to do that very quickly, and then you could spend most of your hours working on the sort of stories that matter most to you, I think that's good.
I have to wonder, are there any reporters who aren't at least enlisting a little help from ChatGPT on some of these boring rote bits? I completely understand that. And Connie, you did the right thing. You've got a human reviewing it. The only issue with ChatGPT is sometimes it's confidently wrong. Right? It says it with such assurance that you go, it must be right, and it isn't. And so you check that, obviously.
Again, I don't use ChatGPT, so I can't speak.
Oh, you got to try it. It's very
There is a clear.
I watched. I'm sorry. I was going to say I watched Ryan Reynolds use it in his ad for Mint
Wasn't that
Mobile.
wild in Mint Mobile? Yeah.
But I think the key to anytime there's a new technology used, and certainly in this case where there are completely valid and legitimate concerns about, is it going to take people's jobs away? Because I'm sure every tech takes people's jobs away, but is to label the content. And we didn't label it as clearly. You had to hover and click to find out. So that changed this week where we said, let's just say it and let's not back away. But our other publications that are using the technology today, being as forthright and labeling and being transparent about who created what content, that's something that has to happen as a discussion in the industry as a whole. So I'm not saying that, like I said, that the jury's still out on how and what the use cases might be, but I think making sure that we're labeling this stuff and we're also not afraid to test it and try it is part of the path forward.
One of the reasons why this story has hit so hard is we did not expect the advancements in GPT to come as quickly as they did. If you look at text that has been written by GPT-2, you can tell that it was auto-generated.
Oh, yeah.
Because it will find a couple of facts, a couple of the nuggets that it wants to put in, and then it just keeps repeating them in different ways. So it's a pretty easy way to figure out that this is an auto-generated piece of content. ChatGPT-3 doesn't do that. It is an order of magnitude more sophisticated than GPT-2, and we did not expect that they'd be able to get to that level this quickly. And now the question is, well, when they release the next version that is using more than 175 billion different parameters to do its predictive texting, what are we going to get? I mean, it's already at the point that I have had inquiries from some of our universities on how can we detect auto-generated content from students. And I told them, well, right now, until we come up with something more sophisticated, what you need to do is you have to get a baseline sample of the writing from the students at the very beginning of the course.
Oh, that's smart.
Because that's the only way you're going to be able to tell.
Get
You're
their
not going to
voice.
find the errors in GPT-3.
Yeah. Jeff Jarvis has talked about a teacher who's going to use ChatGPT in her English classes. And I think that's probably the case, is that it's foolish to hide your head in the sand.
Yep.
And I agree with you. It feels like we are at an inflection point, that there's some sort of Cambrian explosion going on with AI, not just text, but with the illustration as well. And AI voices have gotten better and better and better. And I think very, very interesting. So I'm not one of the people who was critical of CNET at all, because I think you did it the kind of, if you're going to do it the right way. And I think there is a good use case for it, and that people like Paris will always have work, because somebody, I wish I could find the source. I think it was on our Twit Mastodon. Somebody said ChatGPT is just basically the ultimate mansplaining. It's just this confident,
kind of,
patronizing voice saying, well,
actually,
just in case you didn't know. And then it's confidently wrong. Stephen Wolfram of Wolfram Alpha, who is, I think, arguably one of the geniuses of our time, wrote a very interesting piece about how ChatGPT might use Wolfram Alpha to correct the stuff it gets wrong. He talks about some of the confidently wrong conclusions ChatGPT comes up with, like this: how far is it from Tokyo to Chicago? And ChatGPT gets it wrong. It says, the distance is 76,000 miles. It's a very long distance. It would take a significant amount of time to travel one place to the other. The flight to Tokyo from Chicago is about 16 hours. Blah, it sounds pretty convincing, but it's wrong, because if you ask Wolfram Alpha, instead of 7,600 miles, it's 6,313 miles. And he says, by the way, you can teach ChatGPT by adding that information, and then ChatGPT says, well, thank you for correcting me. You're correct. The distance from Chicago is 613 miles. And then you can ask it again, and it will then get it right.
Okay, so it learns.
Which is very interesting. So his premise is there are things that, because of the way Wolfram Alpha works, Wolfram Alpha knows the 3 to the power of 73, which is not 14 billion, but in fact a different number, much larger, that it could be working with ChatGPT to fix it. But people should be very careful about ChatGPT, especially when it comes to factual matters. It is mansplaining.
I just came up a pitch for a show, a new Twitch show with 2 hosts, and both of them are ChatGPT-3 with text-to-speech enabled.
I love it.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, you could have a hit, just make it a 15-minute hit a day. It just auto-generates. I'll code it for you.
Does that resonate, Connie and Paris? Is ChatGPT basically a mansplainer?
I mean, I think that it's just, I think that these tools are useful for their very specific use case. It is taking a large amount of information, aggregating it, and spitting that out. I think that in some cases it'll be right, in some cases it'll be wrong. The fact is, it's taking in a large amount of information, and what you're getting is its, version of what it thinks is important and what it thinks is correct. So it's never going to reflect the world. It's never explaining anything in particular. It is just kind of synthesizing. It reminds me a lot of, I'm a big Redditor. That's been we were talking about social media lately. The social media network I guess I've been turning towards more lately as Twitter has died is Reddit.
I agree.
And they have all these little bots in there where it's like, oh, we're going to try and take the article that was posted and give you the TLDR via bot. And most of the time it's wrong. Sometimes it's right, though. And I think that's like a little fun experiment, is seeing what does the computer think that this actually means.
There's the other issue, which is the people who created the original content that these AI are using, whether they're artists or writers. Our friend Alex Kantrowitz, who is a regular on the show and writes the Big Technology Substack, said a writer used AI to plagiarize me. Now what? And I was taken in, by the way, by this writer. Maybe you saw it. It's a Substack called The Rationalist, which looks like it's written by a human. It is not. It plagiarized one of his posts on the creator economy. I saw this post. It was on the front page of Hacker News a post that said the 1% in the creator economy are taking all the money. There's no middle class. It turns out Alex had written this some days before. The Rationalist, he says, is an odd publication. It has no mission, no named authors outside of Petra. It's been live for a week, yet 2 days after it went live, it was lifting passages directly from big technology. And he has, the smoking gun for that. The flashy headline, the creator economy, the top 1% and everyone else, helped propel its story to the Hacker News front page. It was his story.
So this was the first thing that kind of came to my mind when you were asking earlier about what I thought about potentially whether this is going to put journalists out of a job or something. Is I feel like oftentimes in the news industry we end up having these plagiarism scandals that, I mean, in some cases, obviously, it's people taking huge sections of someone else's work, but oftentimes it's been like someone lifts a couple sentences or a paragraph. And I think if you had publications running unchecked on AI-generated content like this without any editorial oversight, that would happen all the time. This exact example, because aggregating other people's information is going to result in plagiarism. It's kind of like what we're seeing with AI art right now.
I was totally fooled by this. I bookmarked the story. I talked about it on some of the shows. At no point does it say it's AI written, but it is.
But I mean, was it lifting or was it transforming?
Yeah, it starts with a story. As I scroll through my social media feed, I am inundated with the carefully curated lives. It's quite well written, by the way. It's a little bit scary. And if it's a Substack newsletter, it could conceivably make a lot of money. Although some of the commenters did note, this sounds like an artificial intelligence. We're getting better, aren't we, at detecting this stuff? I'm impressed because I didn't detect it, but I think some people are smart enough to pick it up.
So to me, this goes back to even the discussion about social media and what technology has caused in our culture, which is distrust of the people and news sources that are out there. And if we could just all take a moment, Hacker News, to vet who they're amplifying and do some due diligence and check.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, they don't say that it's an AI, but okay, have a whitelist of sites that you will pull from. And if someone wants to join your whitelist, then have them apply to join your whitelist, right? This was an argument that came out years ago with Google News about, we're feeding the disinformation cycle. And I wrote a column proposing this. Well, then don't label what you're putting out there as news.
Right.
Don't put it in the Google News feed. Have a whitelist and invite people to join. Be very clear about what it takes to join that whitelist and be transparent about it so that at least people can trust that is not being written by an AI or it's been plagiarized by someone else. Because I think, we all have examples, Paris and I, of our work showing up under someone else's byline very clearly. And what is the recourse? Well, if you work for a media organization, their legal department can send a takedown notice, right? But not everyone can do that. That's a process. It could hurt you and your business. And so we all have to get smarter about what we're reading and who we trust and how we consume this stuff. And that's not something that happens today, but it's something I think that they should be taught in schools, starting from second or third grade or whatever makes sense. I'm not a teacher, but we need to be more conscious because there is a ripple effect, whether it's plagiarized by an AI or another human being. Alex Kantrowitz was screwed, right, by somebody.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's the message, is that his work was co-opted.
Right.
So what is his recourse? And he's the victim. So does he have to somehow defend himself? Why is he allowed to be victimized? How can we prevent the victimization, if you will?
Yeah.
I think this is, we're starting to see, obviously, this question be asked and in some ways answered in the art world, given the kind of proliferation of AI tools there. I believe just yesterday there was a class action filed against Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt for DMCA violations, right of publicity violations, unlawful competition, and breach of terms of service by kind of this large group of artists, because obviously the work that is being generated by these companies or makers of AI tools is built off the back of artists who have their work on the internet.
It's funny. I would have thought that DeviantArt was the suer instead of one of the defendants, because most of the stuff on DeviantArt, at least until recently, was done by humans, and I would have thought, oh, those humans were upset about their art being, because it's that's exactly what Stable Diffusion scrapes and all the other things. But I guess there's so much AI art appearing on DeviantArt now that they are
apparently. So I didn't realize this, but apparently DeviantArt has this product DreamUp, a product that the lawsuit claims unlawfully infringes on the rights of its own art community, I guess by generating AI art.
Interesting. So, I mean, this is kind of the other side of this AI stuff. Is the machine learning comes from publicly available content, whether text or art or sound. That's how you train these giant models.
That's going to be big. So, let's take GPT-3.
How do you get around it?
So it has 175 billion possible parameters that it can draw from when it's generating its content. So I could foresee them making some sort of regulations on what kind of data you can feed to a narrow AI. It can't just be, here's the internet, take it, because you're going to get so much misinformation. You're going to get so much copyrighted material. You're going to have to start seeing responsible companies saying, we've generated our own data set based on things that we've sampled, and we know that it can generate content that is not copyrighted. We don't have that yet, but that's where we're going to be going if these start to catch on. If you actually start to see these being used in a professional environment, that's just going to be part of the legal due diligence. If you don't have a parameter set that is free from claim, it's not usable in a commercial setting.
Yeah. I'm concerned because voice is the next frontier on this.
Yes.
And it's completely possible to steal my voice.
100%.
Especially because there's
you're saying there's some samples of your voice?
A few.
Maybe.
A few. And my image too. Now, I would love to use this myself to create a virtual Leo that I could then go home and let it take over the shows. And maybe then in a few years, that is what will happen.
Would you trust Ant with virtual Leo?
Yeah, I would. What we'd have to do is
that could be Padre's version of the show. Is two co-hosts. It's both Leo.
You
Leo
would be dressed
Leo,
in Clemson jerseys all year.
GPT.
This is a company called 11 Labs. This is from their blog. This voice doesn't exist. Generative voice AI, taking people's existing voices. Google's been doing this. A lot of others are doing it and applying it to a synthesized voice. So that you can, and Apple's now using AI voices in narration of some of its Apple books. They're quite good. Here's an example of, so the model lets you set things like the voice's core identity, which is gender, age, accent, pitch, speaking style, and then you can generate a new voice out of this that never existed before. These are good. Let me play you.
Right.
Let me play you one.
I want to hear this.
I have to turn on my sound.
Celebrating his 11st birthday.
Oh, this is a passage from The Hobbit.
When Mr. Bilbo Baggins of Bag End announced that he would shortly be celebrating his 11st birthday with a party of special magnificence, there was much talk and excitement in Hobbiton. Bilbo was very rich and very peculiar, and had been the wonder of the Shire for 60 years, ever since his remarkable disappearance and unexpected return.
That's pretty damn good.
Oh my God, I was trying to hear some artifact.
It doesn't sound
nothing.
machinery. Yeah.
The pace was on, and even the pauses.
It paused. It sounded like, and this is what's really scary about ChatGPT too. It sounds like it understands what it's saying, right? Obviously it can't. It doesn't. Here's a conversational voice.
Oh, okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back.
Oh my, even the inflections.
I know.
Wow, this is good.
She's a valley girl.
That is really, okay, no, I'm actually scared about that way more than I am about ChatGPT 3. Yeah. That's too realistic.
Yeah. Well, imagine pairing that with ChatGPT.
Oh my goodness.
So this is 11labs.io, and they say starting next month, this is going to be released to the public.
Oh my God.
As part of their voice lab. There are certain classes of jobs that somebody like me might do, like video game or book narration, that probably are going to be going away. Newsreaders, most newsreaders on radio stations are human right now. I don't think they deserve to be. I think they could easily be a machine.
That's not text to speech. I know text to speech, and I don't like text to speech.
Yeah.
That's actual performance.
It sounds more like performance, doesn't it? Now those are samples they generated, so let's see what happens when they put them out. I have to say, I was very impressed too with Apple's narrators, but they sounded. You could tell.
Right. It's like the Google voice and the Siri voice. They're okay, but I know what they sound like, and I know they sound artificial. There was nothing in those two samples that sounded artificial.
Yeah.
That kind of scares me.
Let me see if I can find a sample of... actually, I have it on my phone. I've played this before. This is a book about lumberjacks.
What app are you using for your audiobooks, Leo?
I use Audible, but there are many better probably choices like Libro FM and others.
I have this terrible. Every audiobook I listen to, the narration is terrible.
Oh, that's why Audible's
worse
good.
than text to speech.
Yeah, you got to really.
I mean, I've tried Audible.
Yeah, well, it depends on the book because everybody's different.
Yeah.
I think the problem really is that some narrators are awful.
I have listened to thousands of hours on Audible. I'm addicted
Let me
to
see
that
if this
service.
fools you, or not fools you. But
Is it going to be the lumberjack song? I'm a lumberjack. And I'm
no.
okay?
This is it. So this is quote narrated by Apple Books. This is a book called The Lumberjacks that probably no human would want to read.
Okay.
Because it's just the history of lumberjacks.
Hit me.
Let me play this. You tell me. I think you can tell the difference.
Loggers in British Columbia. Of the three interwoven ages of Eastern Canadian logging, the first belonged to the bearded square timbermen, who hewed great balks of white and red pine and drove them in huge rafts down the rivers to Quebec City, from where they were shipped
Just
to
imagine you
England
doing
in
the
leaky sailing
dishes while
ships.
listening to this.
I think it's fine.
It's fine, but no, I can. There's a little bit of artifacting at the ends of
I think
sentences.
that's maybe though the bit rate and stuff.
Maybe.
I think that the samples on these are not as good. Maybe as so. But it's not as good. I think as the 11 Labs.
What the 11 Labs does is it speeds up and slows down, which is a very human thing to do.
There was a very
this
natural.
Is more. It's the same speed, even though there are pauses.
They have a lot of romance novels written this way. Let me just.
He was right, of course. Lately, she'd been distracted every time she looked out the window.
Oh, that
and
one's
saw the
very
water.
robotic.
But it
Yeah,
wasn't Vancouver's harbor,
that's
she
one
said.
You
step
guys
above
would know.
Siri.
You would immediately know.
Yeah.
It was a small bay.
I mean, I will say that's better than some of the human
Yes,
audiobooks I've been listening
bad
to.
narrators are awful. Yeah.
It feels like every book that I choose, just the worst audio narrator in the world has been assigned to it. It is
I
like
wish-
they haven't even read the sentence.
I wish Audible were sponsored today because I could pick some very good audiobooks. There's some that really are well narrated. I'm listening to Ian Banks' first book in his Culture series, Consider Phlebas, and the narrator's wonderful on that. He's really doing a nice job of bringing it to life. They're good books, but
There's
you got to
a
find them.
couple. Who did?
Love him.
There's I know
I don't know.
the one who did the Martian.
Oh, he's so good.
He's exceptional. I've heard him in so many books.
So it's an interesting thing happened there, I think, which I talked to Andy Weir about this. He gave the rights for the audiobook to Audible, so they recorded it. And the guy who originally did The Martian, I guess they lost him.
Right.
So the new version is Will Wheaton. Who is not as good.
He's not as good. I heard Will Wheaton.
I like Will.
Do Ready Player One, and he was okay in that.
He's okay.
but he's not what was that guy's name? He's done so many sci-fi in the sci-fi genre.
I'll have to ask Daniel when he's on. Daniel Suarez, who wrote one of your favorite
Demon
books,
and Freedom.
Demon and Freedom. Yeah, his new book is coming out, and he uses the same. That's one of the things. If you get good, you can have the same narrator again and again, and people start to. Here's this Jeff Gerner, who I think sounds really.
Oh, Gerner's fantastic.
Really good. This is from Demon. Probably violating copyrights.
Penguin Audio presents.
Oh, this is the very beginning.
Suarez.
So there's a little funny little thing going on, but.
My startup pitch is that there should be a company that makes like custom audiobooks. Perhaps they work with the author, put a little bit of effort in that, in addition to just having a decent narrator, I guess this is my issue because I read a lot of nonfiction books.
Yeah.
But just turn quotes around slightly so that you introduce who is saying the thing before you launch into a quote.
As Paris Martineau
it feels
said.
like as Paris Martineau said, and then quote, because sometimes I'll just be listening to a book in the driest, flattest voice. And then I'm like, oh, these past 2 sentences were a quote. Little did I know.
Yeah.
Actually,
I agree.
There's a section of The Martian where he's hacking the rover. And in the text, when you're reading the book, it's fine because it has like the code. But then he's reading out the code in real time. And it's like, you know what?
///.
Yeah, you probably could have slipped there. Hex 566 /
On the other hand, Andy's latest, which is Project Hail Mary.
That's excellent.
Really is well adapted audio because there's can I say this without spoiling it? There's an alien. I can say that.
Yeah.
And the alien speaks in a musical tone. And whereas reading it on the page, I don't even know what it looks like on the page because I only listen to it. But reading it on the page, it's not going to be that way. They produced it well.
Yes, it is.
And it's a musical voice, and the alien has his own musical voice.
I read it first, and then I listened to the audiobook. I'm like, oh yeah,
it comes alive.
Duh, that's how I should have been hearing it.
So it just depends, I guess. Hey, I got to take a break. We're way behind on our fine sponsors. We will get a lovely.
You're telling me that wasn't an Audible ad right there?
Yeah, God, if I could only charge them for that. They are a sponsor. We do love them. We'll get another pick from CES from Father Robert in just a second. But first, a word. Now, this is a sponsor I live. In fact, because on New Year's Day, I made a resolution. You ever hear of that? I had been overindulging a little bit, and I said, you know what? I'm getting back with Noom. I've been using Noom for more than a year. You've probably seen the ads on TV and so forth. It's a psychology. It's not a diet. Don't put me on a diet because I will then respond negatively, right? I will then go get a package of Oreos and say, screw you diet, I'm eating these Oreos. Not with Noom. Noom is a psychology-based approach that really is more about educating you about food and your relationship with food so you can break the cycle and change your habits for good. I started doing Noom about a year ago. Lisa, being a wonderful wife, said, I'll do it too to support you. I don't have much weight to lose, but I'll do it. She is like the queen of Noom now. She not only lost the weight, she got down below the weight she'd always wanted to be at. She got down to the weight she's always wanted to be at but never could reach and is maintaining it beautifully. It's amazing. And her health is great. And, over the holidays, I maybe ate one or two. You probably did this too. Too many Christmas cookies.
Yeah, maybe.
That box of C's candy was calling to me. And but you know what? January 1st, Noom again. I went back and I love it. In fact, I actually reset my lessons to kind of start over. I got like the master's degree, got to the end of Noom, and they have a great maintenance program. But I thought I really want to kind of re-engage myself. Losing weight starts with your brain, but it's not, I hate to even say losing weight. It's about learning how to change your relationship with food so it supports you. You have a healthy weight, make the science behind your eating choices, why you've got cravings. I learned, for instance, that I am a fog eater. I eat in a blind fog. You could ask me 5 minutes later, what did you just eat? How did it taste? And I go, what? What are you talking about? I have no idea. Noom helped me learn that. The program helps you understand the science behind your eating choices, why you're doing that. 4.6 million people to date have lost weight through Noom Weight, but everybody's journey is different. So your daily lessons are personalized to you and your goals. They are using specific principles of psychology like cognitive behavioral therapy. Maybe you've heard of CBT. Really, really works. It's all about progress, not perfection. There are no bad foods. You don't have to give up carbs. You don't restrict yourself because restriction, as we've all learned, just leads to cravings, right? If you have cravings or food FOMO, Noom Weight can help you lose weight while enjoying your favorite foods. And you can choose your level of support from 5-minute daily check-ins to personal coaching. They've got groups, and it's grounded in science. Now, let me give you the facts. 95% of customers say Noom Weight is a good long-term solution. It absolutely was for me. I lost 20 pounds, kept it off. I'm ready for the next 20. Lisa lost 15 pounds, has kept it off. She can't lose any more. I won't let her. But she's really loving it. We have listeners. I've mentioned before, one of our chatters was on the cruise with us in Alaska last summer. I sent him a note. I said, where are you? I thought you were going to be on the cruise. He said, I'm standing right next to you. I did not recognize him. Lost 60 pounds and has kept it off. He looks great, thanks to Noom. Brianna Wu, 100 pounds. Have you seen her lately? 100 pounds. I don't even know she had to lose 100 pounds. She loves Noom. They publish more than 30 peer-reviewed scientific articles to inform users and practitioners and scientists and the public about their methods and effectiveness. Peer-reviewed, so it's not marketing materials. It's actual important stuff. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom Weight's psychology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today. Noom, N-O-O-M, Noom.com/twit. I am a living symbol. I believe in it. Man, this thing is so great. It's so great. NOOM.com/twit. Sign up for your trial today. Check out their book, too. They got their first book coming out. You can pre-order it. Oh, no, it's available now. Yay. Available to buy now wherever books are sold. Good, I'm going to get my copy. The Noom Mindset, a deep dive into the psychology of behavior change. It really works. Love them. Thank you, Noom. Noom, NOOM.com/twit. All right.
I wouldn't mind losing 100 pounds.
You can do it.
I really need
It's
to.
hard because
really
you have to eat in a refectory where they serve you day-old eggs.
Oh, those eggs are awesome. I mean, Vatican eggs. They're the
Cold pasta.
bomb.
I've seen your pictures.
They're bad. We just fired our entire kitchen staff.
What? Really?
Well, we got them. You don't fire in Italy. We got them new jobs, and we've replaced them.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. The Twitter folks who got fired in Europe saying, you can't fire us.
No.
This is Europe.
Job protection is really, really
They haven't
strong.
paid them severance either, though.
Yeah, I know.
But the difference is the European courts will absolutely slam Musk for that.
Yeah.
They believe in
I have to think he's just looking for the escape hatch at this point.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he has dumped in, aside from the purchase price and not including all the value that Tesla has lost, he's dumped in about $8 billion just to keep Twitter afloat.
Over and above his $44 billion?
Over and above.
And he's got interest coming up of more than $1 billion?
$1.4 billion is what the interest payment will be at the end of the year. He's
got to feel a little trapped right now.
He's very trapped.
I notice he's not tweeting as much.
He's not. But I mean, if you look at it, so 92% of his revenue came from ads. He was $200 million in the hole in Twitter's best year. It has not been their best year. He's lost about, conservatively, 35 to 45% of his highest advertisers. Which means that even with all the job cuts, if you include the debt that has been added onto Twitter, it's a minimum of $2 billion in the hole a year. And that
There's no way to make that money.
There's no way to make
zero way to make
it is
that money.
Completely unsustainable.
I'm sure he's looking for an escape hatch. He might be thinking about launching himself on a Falcon Heavy to the moon. I don't know. His tweet an hour ago, I think he's listening to the show. Instagram makes people depressed and Twitter makes people angry. Which is better?
Elon Musk, come on Twit.
I know, exactly.
Come on, guy. Explain your side of it. Tell us what your plan is.
Yeah, Elon, meet the real Chief Twit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think he wants to meet me.
Now, that's the see that big laptop, Leo?
Yeah,
the
what's
one below?
that? Yeah.
Grab that one. So these are Chromebooks that Acer gave me.
Chromebooks, these are not Windows machines.
Those are not Windows machines, but
this is a big...
God, you could make a sandwich out of those.
This is a backbeat.
It's got like one on either
Chromebook.
side.
a 16-inch.
Oh,
it's a beautiful screen. It's
got both Mario. Does it have Luigi?
This is a gaming. It's a gaming Chromebook. This is designed for gaming.
Does it have Luigi?
Yeah, it sounds good. It looks good. It's got that all-day battery life. 14 hours on a single charge.
Is it a IPS screen? It looks.
That's
really
an IPS
nice.
screen. This one's got an i5 in it.
And look how it has the WASM lit up. So you can
of
play.
course, you got to get your WASDs.
WASD. I mean, yeah.
Now, and it's of course it's an RGB keyboard. So in the night you know exactly what you need to punch. It's not a touchscreen, but
I got to punch Luigi. No, who's that? I want to punch that other guy. I hate him.
Oh, Bowser.
Wario?
Oh, Wario's no hero either. Yeah. This is nice. That's a Chromebook. How much?
The 600.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, and it's actually
a premium
it's
Chromebook.
a very, very nice machine. I was surprised because when I think of Chromebook, I think cheap build,
120 hertz screen.
Yeah. 16 gigabytes of memory. It's got an i5 in it. It's got a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD. It's an IPS screen that's running 2560 by 1600.
You can now run Linux on Chromebooks.
Yeah, this could be a great Linux box.
This might be my new desktop. That's pretty nice.
It's dedicated graphics, but it's Intel.
It's Iris. It's dedicated. It's the new Iris graphics. Yeah.
But they really sell this as sort of a cloud-based gaming book. So you've got the NVIDIA service or the Amazon service.
Sorry, Stadia.
Oh,
sorry, Stadia.
Wait. You had a Stadia, right?
Yeah.
Did they give you the parting gift?
The Bluetooth upgrade to my Stadia controller.
So now it can be used anywhere.
Thank you. That was a good thing to do. And that worm game they gave us.
They gave you the worms.
There's a. It's not the worms. It's a worms. They had a worm game they were using to test Stadia. That was the final drop.
Oh,
next week.
So sad.
It's over.
But just look at that screen. Seriously, I remember when I thought that high refresh rate screens were a gimmick.
No, 120 hertz makes a difference.
Gosh, it makes such a
pretty
difference.
good.
Yeah,
it looks so nice.
Would you game on this, Paris?
No, I'm not really a computer gamer. I spend so much time looking at my computer for work.
Are you a Switch?
I want to look at. I am a Switch person. I've been thinking about getting the Steam Deck as of late. I'm really excited. The new. Okay, I know. Trying to help me decide what I should get.
I had the Steam Deck. We bought it. Actually, Micah bought it. And I played with it for a while, and it's big, it's heavy, but it's still a 7-inch screen. Yeah. If you're going to play those games, play them on a desktop. It's the nice thing about the Switch is it's games designed for that platform, and they're great. What are you playing right now?
I mean, I'm really excited for the new Fire Emblem that's coming out. I think either within the next week or
is
so.
That on Switch?
Fire Emblem Engage. It's going to be on Switch. Yes, I believe it's a Nintendo exclusive. This is going to be my next couple quarters of gaming. New Zelda's coming out in May.
Ah, okay.
Quite an exciting time.
You were an Animal Crossing fan, were you not?
I mean, I was certainly, I think, when Animal Crossing came out.
That saved me for the first year of the pandemic.
Yeah.
That kept me alive.
It was pretty fun.
At least I had a little village I could go to with animals.
I got really into Disco Elysium a couple months ago. I know I'm like 2 years late to that game, but
no, you're never late for that game.
Connie is
everyone should.
Connie is smiling benignly at us like, you nerds.
I live in a family surrounded by games.
Oh,
I mean, there was that whole period of time when Uncharted was going on in the background, and then Last of Us, which I had to leave the room for. Personally, the game that I discovered during the pandemic was a deck of cards.
Oh, that's nice.
And now, whenever we go anywhere,
so wait, like on a Switch, a deck of cards on a Switch or an Xbox?
Solitaire, the game on your phone.
It's this thing Nintendo used to do about 100 years ago. They made cardboard playing cards.
People don't realize that. Yeah. I mentioned that fact once, and people are like, no, that's not true. I'm like, no, seriously, they used to make cards. Pokemon was a card game.
So Connie, are your kids excited about the TV show The Last of Us, which comes out next week?
So it'd be my son. I think he's a little busy in school right now. I am curious. The reviews have been mixed on it. There are things that have scared me in the past, and I have to say, just watching from afar that game being played scared me. So, not on my list.
It's a really good game.
Yeah.
Now, Leo, I discovered a game during the pandemic, and you want to read the number of hours that's been played?
So he's showing me his Steam login. 6 hours.
No.
Oh, 4 million.
4,661.6
Oxygen not included.
It's addictive.
And what is the premise of
It's basically just like a colonization simulator.
You're not doing Factorio anymore?
I do Factorio, but you know what?
You had a Vatican Factorio server.
Yes, but see, that's a game that requires active participation.
Yeah.
Oxygen Not Included is more like an ant farm where you could set a bunch of stuff up and then just let it run and see if it's going to survive.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, it's
so those 4 million hours, you weren't sitting in front of the screen the whole time.
Like it would run overnight, and I'd wake up in the morning.
Oh, this is cool. It's kind of like Factorio.
Yeah,
it looks like Fallout meets Factorio.
And it's fun. It's really fun. It's single player only, so there's no multiplayer challenge.
Ooh. Can I play it on the Switch?
Yes, you can.
Ooh, it's Linux.
Right. You can buy the used deck of cards from the casino in Las Vegas at the dollar store for $1.
What card game do you play, Connie?
Sometimes we play War. Sometimes we play
War. Come
poker.
on.
I mean,
spades.
all kinds of poker.
Spades.
No, wait, Connie.
Do you have 4 players? Can you play spades? You need 4 players.
Yeah, no, it's usually my husband and myself traveling, and now we've made it a point, going back to your app there about restaurants, finding cafes where we go and sit down,
Perfect.
get some coffee and play.
That's what Lisa and I do. We always bring a deck of cards. We play cribbage. You ever play cribbage? There's an antiquated game.
Now, on my table game isn't so portable because I play mahjong. And that
I
requires
saw you played mahjong with your
50
family.
pounds of tiles to do properly.
That was the cutest picture of you and your dad was sitting there and your mom and you were playing
my mom
mahjong.
My mom cheats.
Cheats at
I'm gonna tell her
mahjong?
right now, Mom, I know you're cheating.
Don't
I know you're
cheat.
cheating. She wins way too much to not be cheating.
Connie,
Is she like at least good at cheating? Does she have like a good bluff?
Oh, she's
or-
excellent.
So mahjong, you're sitting. I've just seen people play behind like ivory tiles,
Correct,
with Chinese characters and pictures of dragons and stuff on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a pool in the middle. It kind of looks like Scrabble.
It kind of looks like Scrabble, and it's it's a card game. So the whole idea is to get 5 sets of 3.
You're trying to organize,
and then
them.
a set of 2.
Yeah,
right.
because you have
And then so you throw tiles
17.
in, and other people can
Okay.
take tiles. Yeah.
Okay, how can you cheat?
You
look at what's
that's
under the.
What I'm trying to figure out. I mean, if it was easy,
You just gotta pick your mom up and give her a big kind of shaking
Shaker.
hug and see if
I
some
just got
tiles fall
tiles in
out.
there.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about it is she's such a good winner that it's hard to be mad at her. She's it looks like I won again. Oh, I'm sure you'll get it next time. I'm like,
Connie, have you ever played cribbage?
I have not played cribbage. We are a backgammon family.
Backgammon's nice. And then when you play cards, you play rummy, gin.
We play all sorts of things. I mean,
Get a
whatever the mood
cribbage board.
strikes.
I'm telling you, I started playing cribbage in college because you could play it when you were really high. It does no.
So wait, did you use the pegs or were there something else that you put in those?
Yeah, sure, you could do it. Well, we used to take bong hits on the turns, actually, now that you mention it. The idea is you gain points. You have hands. You could play from 2 to 6 players, and you play the cards out, and then you count your hands. And you can do it pretty high. And then it's whoever wins this little pegging race. And it's really fun. That's not all cribbage boards look like the number 29.
You cannot play mahjong high. It will not. It will
Yeah,
not work
no,
out
you
for
couldn't. No, and that's what I'm looking for in a game, to be honest.
Okay.
Not anymore, but no.
Well, I mean, Leo, maybe this will work. Have you
I need
tried
Myrkl.
You need
Myrkl. It's a Myrkl.
Huh?
Myrkl.
It's a Myrkl.
It might also stop marijuana.
I have.
It might stop your heart too.
It might stop your heart.
But you're not drunk.
Exactly.
On the,
right?
on the bright side.
If you're dead, you don't have a hangover.
So I wanted to show you, speaking of ChatGPT and AI, I've been using a new search engine, which I'm starting to think might be my new permanent search engine to replace Google. You pay for it, $5 a month.
Okay.
So there's no ads.
Okay.
It's called Neeva. It's from former Google executives. But look at this. See this paragraph at the beginning? Instead of the Google knowledge box that's stolen from Wikipedia, it uses a AI to generate a summary of a number of, and it gives you footnotes so you know where they came from. And this is actually a very good use of it.
like
Give me
that.
something. Let's see. How does a pope get chosen? Right? We all know the white smoke and all of that stuff. Let's see what it does here.
Conclave. Yeah. That
No, but it didn't
nailed
generate an AI thing.
Religion
oh, wow.
is too.
Maybe it's too. Look. How do I quit smoking? I don't know why I thought of white smoke and smoking, but I did.
I actually heard that Myrkl is actually pretty good at
Myrkl
doing
would do that?
Yeah.
Let's see. How do I quit drinking? And now it's, oh, you know what? Maybe it's, okay, never mind.
It's
Never
it's
mind.
resting.
Let's see. Does Myrkl workle?
Well, let me-
Myrkl work? Oh, you know what? It's auto-completing it. Oh, here comes. Myrkl is a
Oh my
pre-drinking
goodness,
pill that is
it's
set to
figured it-
break down up to 70% of alcohol after 60 minutes. It's a probiotic supplement. Wow. And it's getting this from a variety of sources, including the sun.
Oh, that's a great source there. Never anything wrong there.
But they actually do a pretty good job of saying, when you're talking about COVID information, which is, let's see, does the COVID vaccine work? Let's see. This is a tough one for search engines, right? Let's see what it says here. I think it's very, notice it's a little slow. It's not as fast as Google.
Okay,
That's a hard thing to do.
it's giving precedence to CDC. That's not bad.
So, and then when it does see these verified things, it's next to search results that are considered verified, that reliable, it puts a little verified link. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Well, that means that Elon Musk is going to buy this, and they're going to be able to buy a verified tag for $8 a month.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Blue check.
Yeah.
So
you know what search engine was able to give me an answer to how does a pope get chosen?
No.
Bing.
God, they have pictures and everything.
Am I the?
College of
I
Cardinals.
might be the only twit person
Bing?
that uses Bing.
You are definitely.
It is my standard.
Why?
I like splitting up my data.
How?
Honestly, it gives me better results.
I'll have to try it.
Are you sure?
I have been using. I have been using it for 8 years.
There's some skepticism here, Father. Let's see what Neeva says about Bing. Bing is a search engine developed by Microsoft. By the way, it gets its result from Google. It is designed to provide trusted search results fast, collect Microsoft rewards points. That's one of my problems with it. Track topics and trending stories. Take control of user privacy. That's not a bad. They could say it, but we're better. But no, they don't.
No, I just like, and also I like splitting up my data among some of the big players.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want to use Neeva. That's exactly right.
Although Google can't figure me out because I fuzz all my data. It's got geolocated data in multiple languages from different parts of the world at the same time. Yeah.
What else you got?
Oh, here. You need this.
Do I eat it or
it's
does
a
it help me from
suppository?
drinking?
So
I think you should just put it right in there, no questions. Yeah.
Yikes!
So open it up. Open it up. These are little earbuds.
Quiet on.
Quiet on.
On
now,
the top of it.
I know that you've played with a few of these before. These are just for sleeping.
I use the Bose, or I tried the Bose, and I still have them, but I never really use them. But they were Bose in-ears. They basically take their existing quiet comfort, probably the 35s, and turn off the ability to play music. And all I could do is play tracks from your Bose app on the phone.
Then that's a problem because most of the sleeping buds, what they do is they give you white noise.
Yeah. Or oceans. Or jungles.
And they've actually shown that any sort of noise does disrupt the sleep. You may be able to fall asleep, but you're not falling into as deep.
What I like about these are it's a lot smaller than the Bose.
Super small.
And it looks like they fit into your ear well enough. See, I can't sleep with. I sleep on my side. I can't sleep with these in.
These are better than flush, so you can side sleep in these, and you're not going to feel them pressing into your ear. They use foam, so it gives you a nice seal. But instead of white noise, it's actual cancellation. So it's got little mics on the outside, and it's canceling the noise.
Trademarks that because I think there's a toilet manufacturer that wants to use better than flush. For their slogan. So.
That one of the urine detector sensor thingies.
Did you try any of those?
I mean, not on the show floor.
No peeing on the show floor.
They actually had a demo.
That's why it's always a good strategy to just carry around a bottle of piss around CES.
It's so that you're ready.
Try everything out.
Say, try this.
As you do.
Am I pregnant? And
very important.
And they go, Father, I think you should expect something delightful in 6 months.
You know, when I was still working at Twit, I would get blood work at the Quest Diagnostics here.
Yes.
Probably once every 3 months or so.
Yeah.
And every single time I went, there was always someone who wanted to buy my urine.
What? Out front?
Always. Yeah.
Out front?
See me going, hey, man.
They see a priest.
No, I'm not just like this. They just want to buy anyone's urine. I'm like, well, I know what you're trying to do, but...
Yeah. Can you pee in this bottle for me? I'll give you $100. What do you go stand behind a bush?
No, that's why now I just go out there with a bottle in my hand. I'm just like,
it's cold, man. Can you warm that up, man? All right, I got to take a break. This is too much. Our show today brought to you by, we'll have more with our fabulous panel, Connie Guglielmo, editor-in-chief of CNET. She is slumming with us, but we're very glad to have her. Thank you for spending some time with us. Paris Martineau, who is the great reporter of The Information. Man, Wayne Ma had some great Apple stories the last couple of weeks. You guys...
Wayne is insane.
Breaking news.
Truly one of the best reporters I've ever had.
I happily pay for The Information. I think I did back when Ms. Lesin started it. And I have never stopped because your stuff is so good, and I love your stuff, Paris.
Yeah, we have a huge staff now.
It's gotten big, hasn't it?
We got so many people over the course of the pandemic. When I started in like mid 2020, we had maybe 2 other people in New York. Now have such a large New York-based staff. We've had to open an office. Like previously, we were in a WeWork space. We outgrew that office. We had to renovate the floor below.
I am so
and now
happy.
are pushing the limits of that.
You got Amira Fradi, who does such great Google stuff. You've really got great people.
Yeah.
When Jessica Lesson started this was a big jump, big leap. Like, can you make it with a, kind of starting from scratch, $400 a year subscription news service? And I bet you most people thought, well, 50-50. And certainly there were a lot of people who failed around that, including Rupert Murdoch. But she's done such a great job. And now it's going to gangbusters.
Yeah. I mean, and now, of course, everyone in news is pivoting to the subscription model because advertising isn't forever.
Yep. Are there no ads on the information? I don't even notice.
No, we
ads.
don't have ads. I mean, I think that there are sometimes maybe like a message from a sponsor in a newsletter. But other than that,
it's really
no
good.
ads.
This is, wow, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic. Very nice. Let's talk a little bit about getting a job. What do you say? This is an interesting time, isn't it? Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. This time of year is tough for any business. You've got new goals for the new year, but you've got to find the right people to accomplish them. And weirdly, it's hard to find people. There is definitely a shortage of skilled jobs. Finding qualified candidates or adjusting to candidates' work preferences can be, challenging. It's a challenge we all face. I could tell you what we use when it's time to hire. We use ZipRecruiter. And I have to say, when you are hiring, often that's the worst time to hire in a way because, somebody leaves and then suddenly you're down a person. And at the same time as you're trying to, hire somebody, you got to get that work done. And it's just nuts. ZipRecruiter is the place to go to get your hiring done. And I could say that with absolute confidence because it's what we use and it's worked so well for us. Right now, you could try it free. ZipRecruiter.com/twit. About 6 months ago, Ashley decided, our wonderful continuity person decided to go somewhere else. I think she got a job closer to home. She didn't want to commute. Gave us notice, but we said, how are we going to replace Ashley? We placed an ad on ZipRecruiter, and one of the things that happens at ZipRecruiter, the first thing that happens, you're posting everywhere to more than 100 job sites, to social networks, everywhere. But then something amazing kind of happens. And incidentally, don't fear posting all over the place because the wider you cast the net, more likely that perfect employee will see your posting. But then you say, oh, well, I don't want 100 people calling me or mailing, putting, email, and it all goes to the ZipRecruiter interface, all of it, including the resumes, which they reformat so they're easy to scan. You can have automated screening questions to eliminate people who are just not right for the job. But then the magic happens at ZipRecruiter because they have this technology. What they do is they match the requirements of your job to those resumes, and they find candidates who fit your needs and then tell you about them. At which point you get to decide, am I going to invite them? And I have to say, it's been our experience when you send out a personal invite, hey, you look like you'd be right for this job. Would you be interested? Those people respond. They come to the interviews. It's a whole different experience because they're so happy to be, welcomed in. And we found, and this is often the case, Lisa posted it at breakfast. By lunch, we had 3 or 4 great candidates. In fact, the only challenge for us was figuring out which of the 4, I think we ended up interviewing 3 or 4 people we were going to hire. We hired Viva. She's fantastic. Thank you, ZipRecruiter. By the way, when you post, ZipRecruiter offers attention-grabbing labels that will let the applicants know that you are flexible. Things like training provided. Those kinds of things really help. ZipRecruiter also has a user-friendly dashboard. Like I said, filter, review, rate your candidates in one place fast. ZipRecruiter, let them find the best people for all your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For us, usually within an hour or 2. See for yourself. Go to our special address so you can try it for free, ZipRecruiter.com/twit. ZipRecruiter.com/TWIT. ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter. Thank you, ZipRecruiter. I don't know why I'm making up a jingle for them.
I wonder if I could use ZipRecruiter to get more priests.
I bet you could. I remember going on Christmas Eve to a mass many years ago, 20 years ago. There's a little church you probably know in San Francisco where they still do the mass in Latin.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's a French church. And I thought, it'd be fun to hear the mass in the high Latin, in the old tongue. And the whole sermon was, we need more priests. Anybody want to be a priest? We need more priests. And I thought, that's probably not the message you want to put out.
It's kind of true.
It's kind of true.
I mean, when I entered the society in 1994, we had...
Have you been a priest? Well, you weren't a priest yet, but that's when you started.
That's when I started.
Holy cow.
We had...
wait a minute. You were 12?
No. I was an undisclosed age. I was already older. I had graduated from college.
You and I, people don't know this maybe about you, but you were an IT professional.
Yes.
Before you became a priest.
Correct.
That's
thing.
why you're so good at all this stuff. This was
I brought it in
love.
with me. I brought it in with me. But we had almost 30,000 Jesuits at that time around the world.
Yeah.
And now we have about 14,000.
Oh, that is a crisis.
Yeah.
That's not good. Have you talked to Father Guido Sarducci? Maybe he could help.
No, I mean, I'm going to form a priest chat room.
There you
go. We'll just,
Here's my pitch. You get ChatGPT in there. You get a couple of these monitors on wheels. Get some metaverse type things. You don't need legs to be a priest.
I got a
just
thought.
Hook up AI there.
Are you really locked in on that whole thing if they can only be a celibate man? That's to me, that's a deal breaker.
You know, 5 years ago, I could answer that question without fear of repercussion. Now
Let's
it
not
would
talk
cause
about
an
it.
issue.
Okay, no.
I will say this. Because there have been some very good discussions about the requirement for celibacy. Personally, and this is going to get me fired,
No, don't say it.
I think the idea of women as priests should come faster. Some could come more quickly.
Lisa's Episcopalian,
Absolutely.
and they have a lot of female ministers, and they're great. They're great. Yeah.
But I mean, it all happens with discernment.
Connie,
it all happens
are you
over time?
How conservative are you about all of this stuff? You said.
I think female priests is a great idea. Why would you cut off half the population of the world to serve?
Yeah, that would help.
It would help a lot.
Yeah.
It would help. And it's not just numbers for me. It's, there is something that is very experiential about being man or being woman. And why would you cut out half of that from the
It's the same reason you want diversity in the boardroom. You want diversity in the design room. You want a variety of experiences, not just male and female. You want a variety of experiences in all technology because you're going to be selling products to all kinds of people. Why would you just want a bunch of white tech bros designing this stuff? Yeah. Why the male thing? Is that obviously it's historic, but when did that start and why?
I mean,
it goes back.
Depends on
many years.
who you ask.
Yeah.
A lot of it was based in patriarchy of the systems in which Catholicism was spreading. And so naturally but I mean, if you go back far enough, you find communities in biblical times that were being led by women.
Sure.
So
the very earliest Christian communities, I'm sure.
I don't want to kick off that debate. It's something that I think well-reasoned and well-intentioned people should speak about. If you come in thinking, I'm going to defend my position because I'm a male priest and therefore I always want male priests, it's not going to be beneficial to anybody.
Right.
But, that's fine. It might come to the point where our hand gets forced. It's sort of like, okay, well, you only want to have male priests. Fine. Here's 5 around the world. What are you going to do?
Right. Well, and I know these are discussions that go on within the church. There's a lot. There's a lot of politics, believe it or not, in all of this.
Really? In religion?
I know, right?
Who knew?
Go figure.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other religion.
Apple?
NFL.
Oh, okay.
I think you were going to say NFTs.
NFTs. No, there's a little too much faith in that one.
Yeah, I know. Not even we will touch NFTs.
Religion.
That's a failed religion. Yeah. Is it? Can we write NFTs off? Is it done?
The people who still are trying to unload NFTs.
All the people who own them
want
to keep it going. Yeah. People, I wouldn't buy. I don't think people are buying them anymore.
There is still trade, but it's a dying trade.
Yeah.
Basically, the people who were going to make money on NFTs have gotten their money. The people who are holding on to NFTs are hoping that it will bump a little bit so that they don't quite lose as much money. There's really no one getting into NFTs right now.
Connie, you've been in this game a little while. It's one of the things that fascinates me, and one of the things I think as an old timer, much older than you, obviously, but as an old timer, I bring to the table, which is I've seen a lot of technologies come and go that at the time people said this is the next big thing, like NFTs. You probably have had the same. You must have had the same experience over the years.
One of them, absolutely. One of the most interesting examples, though, I'm not ready to write off NFTs 100% because I think the use case in the future might be different. But I think about Corning, because I went and visited Corning in upstate New York several years ago on the 5th anniversary of the iPhone. Corning creates Gorilla Glass. That is the front of the iPhone. Steve Jobs went and through their archives and found it and asked them to do a formulation. And Gorilla Glass, if you don't know, was originally designed as the toughest, strongest glass possible, and they were going to use it in windshields. But it was so tough and so strong that it actually was a hazard, because if you bumped into the windshield, you could not get out of your car. You could not escape. It didn't break.
Wow.
And so the use case for this tough, amazingly strong glass was wrong, but the glass was right. You actually want tempered glass or glass that pimples, right? So that if you have to evacuate your car in an emergency, you are not trapped in a box of impenetrable glass. And so it took someone finding an application for it, 30, 40 years later.
It's my understanding that they were about to shut the factory down. They were going out of the business.
Who, Corning?
Yeah, not out of business Corning, but out of the Gorilla Glass business. They couldn't find a market for it.
Yeah, I don't think they really manufactured it in bulk at all.
Yeah.
Their glass is used in a lot of things, Corning, and including LCD displays, which, there's a big market for that. But anyway, my point is that sometimes people design products that are ahead of their time because the use case isn't there, right? The guy who invented the very weak glue at 3M that ended up being the right glue for
it was a ladder.
Right?
It was going to be for the steps on the step ladder so you wouldn't slip off. But it didn't work so good.
So what I'm saying is the use case for NFTs
that's a good
today
point.
as a vehicle to make people a lot of money and basically create a pyramid scheme, I think we're all done with. And I think it's over. But I don't know what the future application of that tech could possibly be. And that's the interesting thing about technology, is that somebody in the future can find a new adaptive use for it. And so it is a joke today, but I think it's kind of interesting. And we'll see how it comes back.
Yeah.
Maybe not in our lifetimes, Leo, but maybe.
Yeah. Steve Jobs told the story of going to Corning, New York to meet with the CEO of Corning because at the time they were going to put the iPhone screen was going to be plastic, but it's scratched terribly. The problem was, you could replace it with glass, but glass shatters. And I think we've learned that glass shatters. But at the time, people were very worried about that. So he went to Corning, and the CEO Wendell Weeks had told Jobs about Gorilla Glass, but he said, "But I'm not set up to mass produce it. We don't have the factories." Jobs said, "Don't be afraid. You can do this." And basically, I think paid them to open up a factory and make Gorilla Glass by ordering tons of it. For the longest time, they didn't admit it was Gorilla Glass, by the way.
That's right.
Apple didn't say it was Gorilla Glass.
Didn't they call it Sapphire?
Yeah, they had all sorts of names for it. But that was Gorilla Glass, then Gorilla Glass 2, and then Gorilla Glass 3, and we've gotten better and better and better.
There was a CES that Corning came to just so they could tell people, no, we are the glass.
That's right.
That was their big marketing
Apple
campaign.
didn't want anybody to know. Oh,
right.
no, we do it all ourselves. Yeah, that's the story. But yeah, that was a great...
Designed in California.
Yeah. Designed in Corning, New York. In fact, Corning was a sponsor for some time. They make fiber optic cables.
That's
we
right.
had some of their fiber optic cables.
Yeah, we had them on Twiat.
Yeah, they were great.
Twiat
That was really
sponsor,
cool. Yeah.
Well, funny story, Corningware, remember?
Yeah.
You can bake in your oven, started out as missile cones. the top of missiles. It was indestructible, and it was very, very heat resistant. And so then it ended up being turned into.
I had no idea.
I love that.
Isn't that hysterical?
Now on missiles, they just put iPhones on the.
They're perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect for that. Yeah. All right. I was going to talk about the NFL playoffs. Who cares? Football's going on this weekend.
Yeah, sorry, we really derailed that layup.
I'd rather talk about glass.
The football fan in the studio is a little upset right now.
One guy here. HDR 4K for the first time, especially the HDR. That's new. I think we had 4K. We've had a 4K in other sports. It is 1080p up converted.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Whenever they say they're broadcasting in 4K, they're not.
Because they don't have the cameras, and more importantly, they don't have the truck. It's a special truck that you have to have, and it's a very different workflow.
Well, I mean, once it gets to your distributor, they're going to sample it down because they don't want to use up all their bandwidth for multiple 4K streams.
That's why Fox is doing it, because they have that app.
Yeah.
And they do stream it in a high-quality app. And apparently they've made deals with a lot of cable companies because guess what? There are a lot of people with 4K HDR TVs that are a little miffed that they're watching these games at 720p, 30 frames a second. 42 cameras at the championship games that are going on this weekend. In fact, right now, don't go watch them. Stop. 42 cameras with aerial cameras, sky cams, line-to-game cameras, double carts on both sidelines. You've seen those? Have you seen those? They actually have like trucks with scissor lifts on them. Have you've seen that, right? And they're going back and forth in the sideline. I love the USFL. They've got drone shots now. And the drones, it's weird on the USFL, which is coming in the spring, I think. I watched it last year.
I think they should put a camera in the ball. That's my pitch.
Oh, why
Someone
don't
who doesn't
they?
watch sports.
They have them in the
camera
pylon.
right in there.
Put it in the ball. You're right. Watch it. Ah! You can watch the ball go.
In helmets. In people's helmets.
They have
so we
mics
can
in the
see.
helmets. Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah. Camera in the helmet.
This was weird on the USFL. The drone would fly into the huddle. They literally, you could see this. There would be a drone in the huddle, and then they'd break, and the drone would skitch back, and then be right behind the quarterback and follow the play.
I don't know if I want a drone flying next to my players.
They're light.
Okay.
I think they have helmet cams in the USFL as well. I think they're doing that because that's how you kind of jump on the bandwagon. I was a little disappointed that Apple did not score the Sunday ticket. And I think some of this was because Apple wanted to do some interesting things, and the NFL said, no, YouTube TV will have NFL Sunday ticket starting in the fall, the next NFL season. But there is a rumor now that Apple is trying to get Premier League. So Apple did get Major League Soccer, the U.S. small-time soccer, for 10 years. And it's a good, but now there's a rumor that Apple is going to bid for the English Premier League, which arguably is no interest either in this either, huh?
Is that where Richmond AFC plays?
Oh, is that Rich? Is that that's
Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso. That's a fake team, right? You almost got me there. Actually, Wrexham is the team that's owned by Ryan Reynolds.
That's right. That's right.
And
Well, it's Ryan Reynolds and
the guy
Rob
from Philadelphia, Rob McElhenney. Yeah. The Daily Mail, bastion of truth in journalism. Okay, maybe not. Says Apple's gearing up to bid on a package of English Premier League football, soccer streaming rights, which is about to come up for renewal. I think it's very interesting. I want these tech companies actually to show what technology can do in the coverage of these games. Apple failed miserably with Friday Night Baseball.
They did, yeah.
God awful. But the deal will cost
What
Apple.
did they do to mess up Friday Night Baseball?
Make it
How
more
hard is
boring.
that?
They made it more boring.
They just add an extra like 3 hours.
Yeah, they made it longer.
I've gotten used to the coverage that I get over in Europe.
What's that like? Of baseball, there's none.
No, but like of F1 and of soccer, where there's no commentator. You get the crowd sounds.
They just show the
I love that. I love
You don't
that.
have Crofty?
No.
It's lights out in Monza. No. That's the best part of F1.
I mean, I like that on the replays, but for the race proper?
It's so quiet. We're just watching the cars go round and round. The deal will cost Apple $250 million a year, according to the Daily Mail. But that's for U.S. only. Any English bid for domestic UK rights would be billions a year. This is the number one sport.
Billions and billions
Billions a year.
and billions.
That didn't gain any interest. Let's see what else I can do. Have you heard about Corning Glass?
Can I just tell you, if you are in upstate New York, you should go visit Corning because it is fascinating. Their claim to fame is that they made the machine that produced Thomas Edison's light bulbs. And the guy who created that machine to mass produce light bulbs created such a perfect machine that it is still the same machine that is used today. They haven't altered the design.
Whoa.
That's how fascinating glass is.
Actually, on the other coast, there is another Edison-related story. There is one Edison bulb that has been burning for more than a century.
That's the one in the firehouse.
The firehouse in my hometown of Fremont.
Is it still burning?
It's still there. You can still visit it.
We used to, this is 30 years ago when I was working at KNBR, we would do a weekly check to see if the
still there.
light bulb was still on.
It's still there.
Okay.
I mean, unless the
light
firehouse
bulb's
burns
still
down.
working, and my Philips Hue is burning out after like 3 years.
Have you noticed that? I've got regular LED bulbs, and then I've got smart LED bulbs in Rome, and all of the smart ones have burnt out, like within 3 years.
See, that's the thing, is it hasn't like totally burnt out. But, the Philips Hue, the color ones, they have a range of colors. About half the range is gone, or it's just not really what you want, to where it's only kind of the awful light that makes you feel like you're in a cafeteria, which I think is the worst way for one of these bulbs to burn out.
This is a good tangent for a conversation about sustainability, which is
yes.
Lots of products in the olden times were designed to last a long time. But in recent times, those products are designed to live a very short life.
Well, of course.
They're intended to be disposable. So there is a movement in the tech industry, and some of the people at CES this year were talking about, is to create products that are replaced with replaceable parts so that you can actually replace the parts, or that are refurbishable so that you can actually buy one without feeling guilty that you're buying an old gen whatever. And this bit for nostalgia, somebody was talking about, old tech being interested, right? Digital cameras are coming back into the fore, and the kids have liked Instagram camera, not Instagram, what are they called? You push the button and the film comes up.
Polaroid, the Instax.
Polaroids, yes, thank you. So what's old is not necessarily mean that it's bad, but it's your light bulb problem is that if those light bulb manufacturers created a light bulb that lasts 30 years, they would be out of business after they saturated the
I always
market.
thought there's a little bit of, they always said that, they could make gasoline out of water and they always say that. And I always wonder if that's.
You can make combustibles out of air. There is a thing called solar jet that just uses heat and pressure to.
When are we getting a Mr. Fusion?
Well, the problem is the amount of energy that you have to put in is more than the energy that you get out.
Right. Yeah.
So
not anymore.
The fusion, right? So that's the thing that people missed about that fusion story. Yes, it's nice to have a lot of energy that you're generating, but it's what that energy generation will allow you to do. You can then do efficient and inexpensive generation of fuel from atmospheric air. Yeah. You can then move to a hydrogen-based fuel system.
Take water from the ocean.
Right, because it's really easy to electrolyze. Right. So, there's the knock-on stuff.
I'm sorry to say I've gone to centennialbulb.org, which is the website that looks like it was designed in 1910.
When a website's like this, it's going to be some good stuff.
This is a time capsule.
I have to say, though, there is a broken link here. I don't know if they're using Flash or if the light bulb has actually gone out.
No, you know what it is? It's one of those little Logitech quick ball cams that you used to use on Tech TV.
It's pretty old.
That's probably what it's using.
But you can email them at centennialbulb@hotmail.com.
Just ask, hey, can you send me a picture of the bulb?
I'm going to sign the guest book just to say I was here. Wow. The only thing missing from this website is a mailbox with a animated opening and closing.
Or how about at the bottom, under construction, a guy with a jackhammer.
This is the top 5% of the web, I'm guessing.
Hey, we all used to make sites like this 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Look at that animated GIF. And the lights here. Look at that. The lights are lighting up down here, but
that's state of the art.
It's lit, guys.
That is state of the art.
The camera's dead.
Oh my God, I think that site just gave me a virus. Not my computer, I think me. It gave me a virus.
CES couldn't do it. But the light bulb. YouTube is, by the way, I was mentioning YouTube TV. In fact, I pay $20 extra a month for 4K content that doesn't exist on YouTube TV.
Wait, why?
It started back in the Olympics.
Those are over
for a long time.
You can stop,
I know, I'm just an idiot. Occasionally, but like this, they have 4K. The Super Bowl is going to be in 4K. I'll be able to see it on my YouTube TV in 4K. Sort of.
Leo, how many streaming subscriptions
all
do you
of
think you
them.
have active
How
right
many?
now?
All of them. Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah, because if you could write it off as a business expense, you'd probably have them all too.
Yeah. And Leo is actually the only person on the planet who isn't sharing passwords. He actually owns all his accounts.
Yeah. I don't share anybody's passwords. I might be sharing my passwords with my children who are just leeches, but that's another story for another day. No. I think so. I don't know why. You know why? I think that my kids have my Netflix password because every once in a while it'll say, well, you're only halfway through that reality show about naked people on an island.
Yeah.
Would you like to watch some more? And I'm going, I don't
Which
think,
one?
I don't think I'm watching that one. Anyway, YouTube is testing a hub of free cable-style channels. I think this has been a secret goal of Google all along.
Yes.
Already.
Just that I need more content with ads.
But they already have everybody under 30, right? That's where they watch TV nowadays. They're talking to media companies to feature their TV shows and films in a hub of, you guessed it, ad-supported channels. This is the hot new thing in the industry. Fast, free ad-supported TV. Roku's got it. There's Tubi, that's a Fox entity. Pluto, which is owned by Paramount. Free TV, which is Amazon's answer to all this. It's so funny because we started watching Netflix because there were no ads, right? You could watch The Office, no ads. And the industry...
Now you can't watch The Office.
Now you can't.
And you can't watch without ads.
The industry has been doing everything they can
to bring them back. The kicker for me was when Hulu started offering its subscription with the ads.
Yeah.
And because that was the precursor for all the others. That was the test. Is this a low enough pain point that people will buy into it? And unfortunately, people did. They kept buying Hulu, and so therefore everyone does it now. But I'm wondering, what is enough? Like for me, I've got Amazon Prime because Amazon Prime in Europe is ridiculously cheap. It costs me $30 a month. $30 a year to be Amazon Prime.
Because you're a Prime member anyway, you get the 2-day delivery.
Well, no, that's so the subscription in Europe is €30
just for the TV.
No, for everything, for Amazon Prime,
cheap.
right? But
it's like what, $130 a year or something?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I think aren't we up? We're above that now, right?
I think it's $140. I think
they just jacked it up.
Holy cow!
So I've got that.
But I mean, the thing is, they're
Disney.
trying to increase membership in places like Italy.
Yeah.
In Europe, really the only other place in Europe where Amazon has a big Prime subscriber base is Germany.
Oh, that's interesting. So we should mention Paris covers Amazon, so she knows about this stuff.
It's true. 149, Chet is saying.
Which, by the way, in Italy, because of the way that the rights work, I get all of Paramount. So all the Star Trek stuff, that's part of my basic subscription.
Damn, that's great.
I'm moving to Italy. You get pasta, you get Prosecco, and you get Star Wars.
I've got a 10 gig line and a VPN, so I mean, I'm just saying.
Just log into the Vatican.
Log in.
What? This guy in the Vatican's watching all these reality shows about naked people on an island. What's going on?
Now, the trick to watching with a VPN is you want to use one of the services that lets you download the entire episode, so you're not streaming it over the VPN.
Oh, is that the secret?
That's the secret.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
That makes a lot of sense because I've been having it's VPN season upcoming for me because this new season of Love Island is about to start.
Is that the one with naked people on an island?
I mean,
I thought that was Naked and Afraid.
No, they're
that's
bikini.
Naked and Afraid. There's a lot of
bikini clad.
Yeah. So this is like
They're
the Bachelor
bikini
plus
That's the one
Naked
I was
and
talking
Afraid.
about. Are you using my
this
Netflix
one's kind
password?
of like Big Brother. I mean, only on weekends, Leo. You know, only on weekends.
So the whole idea is it's a bunch of good-looking young people in swimwear.
In swimwear, but the thing that's interesting about it,
I would
to
not
me
do
at
well
least,
on this show.
It goes on for basically like 50 days straight.
And they
right
can't
now,
have sex,
people are,
right?
Well, I mean, they could. That's a different one. That's called Too Hot to Handle.
That goes on
so
on the pay channel. That's different.
They are in essentially like a Big Brother house, like where there are cameras on every like inch of it. And these people are filmed 24 hours a day. And you get like tomorrow, we'll get the episode of what happened on Love Island like right now. And so every single day they put out a new episode. It is fast, which means some days
there's 29 episodes. Holy cow.
Because you get all the content for in the UK like 55 days straight. And I think it's kind of interesting because it's not that edited.
You know, I don't judge the content that other people watch because I watch some pretty trashy content. So if you enjoy it and it runs,
I thought there might be a butt coming in that, but
no. This is
okay.
I get it.
I understand, not highbrow in any way, but it's kind of I think it's kind of interesting to see, even from an editorial perspective, how you put together just live what is happening on a small in a small villa for 50 days.
Interesting. It is taking over television, isn't it? It's the last
because it's cheap
of commercials. But it's not just because it's cheap. It works. People watch it.
Well, I got one. The border security shows that they have on Amazon, where they're basically just showing you customs at an
That's
airport.
A dystopian sentence.
It's a terrible show.
Shows on Amazon.
It's terrible content, but I will have it on the background when I'm like working on something because it's a big shot of Schadenfreude.
What? Wait a minute.
It sounds
Are you
like
teasing?
the Truman Show.
No, I'm dead serious. There's like 5 different versions of that, and they do like 9 different countries. There's Border Security Dubai,
Season
Border Security
5.
Canada.
Phony tourists here to work.
Yeah.
Belligerent visitors smuggling contraband. Toys packed with heroin.
It is absolute bottom feeder content, but it's addictive.
This is like Cops, but like with
human bones are found inside luggage.
So, I mean, I watch this. So can I really criticize someone who wants to watch an island filled with attractive young people?
Border Security, America's front line. Wow. Is there nothing that they won't turn into a reality show?
We haven't done it for the Vatican yet, although I tried to pitch it.
That College of Cardinals.
That's right.
Next time you got to vote. There have been a number of movies, Shoes of the Fisherman. There have been TV shows, all dramatizing what goes on.
I was actually just going to call it Love Island. But they weren't big on that.
Yeah.
No.
Cardinal Filippi, why do you want to vote for Cardinal Verducci? I love him.
Remember
That's going to be great.
That quote from John the 23rd?
I can't acquit you.
They asked him, how many people work in the Vatican? And he said, about half. It's not an exaggeration.
Oh, forget tech news. Wait a minute, what's the Synology bag over here?
No, that was just one of the...
You're teasing me because you know I love my Synologies.
They were supposed to send me a NAS and it didn't arrive. Instead, I got the
velvet bag.
I got the SSDs that go into the new Synology.
They sent you well, that's cool.
Yeah.
These are the things that really cost you money. You buy a Synology, you buy a bunch of hard drives, and they say, "Oh, one more thing."
Right. So they sent me the drives. Now the cool thing is the new versions. They have a 10 gigabit Ethernet connection.
Oh, nice.
So
that's what you have in Italy.
No, but they just when I went by the booth, they just gave me what is essentially an iFixit kit.
Oh, well, that's good.
I love that.
What else you got? Well, okay. Give me something good.
This is practical. This is something you could use.
Yeah.
I know you like
it's a fanny
your
pack.
man purse. It's a fanny pack.
I was going to say, it does seem like a fanny pack.
It is a fanny pack, but I was looking for something that held all the tech, and I don't like a fanny pack. So in fact, this is a merce. They call it a sling. This is a bolster. And it works.
Actually, you know I'm kind of a fan of bags.
I know, right? That's why I brought it in.
So this goes over it's like a messenger bag.
You can go over the shoulder, or you can, there's another strap you can go around your waist. So you just choose how you want to wear it.
Looks like a man's ear, to be honest with you.
It's really designed to be like diagonal. Well, maybe.
Wow, yeah, you're really rocking that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a tech pro. Can you tell?
If you want, you can take that with you. You can use that in Rome.
No, I don't do swag.
You could use that to carry your 28 phones, Leo.
Oh,
just have them all in there.
This wouldn't hold all my phones.
It might.
You could get another one.
Actually, no. That's why you need this. This is the
This is the one thing I thought was really cool. You did this video piece for us last week on Ask the Tech Guys, and this, of all the things, all the real cool gear, including the Myrkl. This is the one I was interested in. So this is a MagSafe.
It's a MagSafe thing.
Okay, let me take my phone out so I can. So you can. It just flips. It hangs onto the phone. Is MagSafe strong enough to put my wallet in there? I mean, Nick, should I trust that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can actually hold it by the holder.
It's got a little pop socket kind of. It does come off, but
it's supposed to
so it just holds your cards?
Well, no, yeah, holds your cards. But what I like about this, I use this at CES. This is an NFT device. So it has my business card on it.
Really?
So
NFT?
Right. So rather than giving someone my business card,
NFC, not NFT.
Oh, sorry, NFC.
Let's make that very clear.
Whoa.
How would you like to buy this? No, so
you can put it on the blockchain.
You put your business card on it or no?
Right. So
you put a link to it.
You put the link to it, and so you tap it to the back of someone's phone, and they have their contact information, which is so much better than business cards.
That's fun.
Yeah, who wants all that paper?
You must have done this. I just got back and started sorting all my business cards, and half of them I couldn't remember which representative belonged to which company. Yeah.
Does it have to be purple?
No, I just chose that because I like purple.
Well, look, it matches the color right behind me. That's good.
Oh.
All right. I want to take a little break because it's getting late and Connie has places to be and things to do and a teenage son to monitor. But our show today, I do want to mention, is brought to you by, we were talking about Ryan Reynolds and his ChatGPT ad, which was hysterical. Mint Mobile. Big fan of Mint Mobile. You said you use it.
I do.
Not in Italy.
No, but I need a new SIM when I come into the States.
Yeah.
Right?
Mint Mobile is brilliant. It is a phone company with no stores, no physical presence, but they take all the money they save, that and their cheesy ad campaign, they save a lot of money there,
ads.
And they put that money into your pocket. If you're saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for this year, that's a very good resolution. Why are you still paying insane amounts of money for your phone bill? Just think what your cell phone bill is. $100 a month? $120 a month? Mine, sneakily, slowly has been inching up every month. It's getting close to $200 a month. But Mint Mobile? Nope, $15 a month. All in. That's nationwide unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. It's not a secret, T-Mobile. So if you get good T-Mobile service where you are, this is absolutely a no-brainer. Premium wireless for $15 a month, and that's it. There's no secret fees, no added things. Oh, you got to pay for that. No, that's it. Because they're online only, they eliminate the traditional costs of retail, and they could pass those savings on to you. You could bring your own phone. Mint Mobile now supports eSIM, so if you've got an eSIM-enabled phone, you don't even have to get them to send you a SIM card, but if you need one, they will send you one for free. They don't charge you. They also sell phones at amazing prices. I got an iPhone SE and Mint Mobile complete, $30 a month. New phone and Mint Mobile service. 4 gigabytes of data for $15 a month. Need more? How about $20 for 10 gigabytes? Nobody needs more than 10 gigabytes a month. Okay, 15 gigabytes, that's $25 a month. What are you paying? They even have an unlimited plan. Mint Mobile, and they have that modern family plan that lets you mix and match data plans so everybody gets what's right for them. All you need is 2 lines, and you don't even have to be in the same family. Just be good friends. Just be good friends. With Mint Mobile, choose the amount of monthly data that's right for you and stop paying for data you never use. This is absolutely a no-brainer. Mint Mobile premium wireless service starts at $15 a month. Get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/twit. mintmobile.com/twit. Again, cut your wireless bill to $15 a month and they'll ship it to you for free. I am such a huge fan of Mint Mobile. It's like, why do you pay any more? I feel like I have to have all the different carriers so I can tell people what's wrong with them all. I've never had to say anything's wrong with Mint Mobile. It's just great. mintmobile.com/twin. And do, if you can, they've been showing it on the football games and stuff. Ryan's ChatGPT written ad. It's actually really good.
He's entertaining.
I think he's so fun. So what he did that was smart is he started an ad agency.
He did.
And that's like brilliant. Now, all these movie stars, they're buying tequila companies. He bought aviation gin. But then he said, I should start an ad agency. And I think he's done better on that than his movie career. Yes. I mean, he's really good at it. And he owns Mint Mobile. MintMobile.com/twit. At first, by the way, I did some research. I thought, it's, here, we'll give you 5% of the company to
Right,
do our ads or something. No, he owns more than 50%. He is literally a controlling owner of Mint Mobile, which is hysterical.
What I like about when I made my first subscription to Mint Mobile, they sent me 2 extra SIM cards. And I just keep those with me. So every time I come back into the United States, when I hit the U.S., I just pop the SIM in, I activate the card, and I'm good to go. And then they send me another card. So I only pay for the months that I'm actually in the United States. It's a great service.
We had a great week this week on Twit. Did you see all of it? I bet you missed a few things, but fortunately, we have a lovely little movie we've prepared for your entertainment.
We're going to sit down and enjoy some quality time with the wonderful Miss Stacey Higginbotham as we have our book club,
which Leo
discussing
slept through.
Andy Weir's
I was supposed
Project
to be there.
Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I know we don't have alcohol, but we all have opinions.
Yes, so true.
Should we start off, Ann? Did you hate this book?
No, oh, wow.
Previously on
Is that the first one you didn't hate?
All about Android.
Motorola at CES announced 30 years of the Lenovo ThinkPad, and now Motorola is releasing the ThinkPhone. So
That's
they're kind of, doing this like collaborative thing to give you serious ThinkPad vibes.
iOS Today.
It's time to talk about some of the most productive, most creative, most useful apps for your iPhone and your iPad.
DaVinci Resolve.
Security Now.
Rob tweeted to me. He said, "All right, Steve, you asked and I delivered. I wrote a PowerShell script to parse the XML file that is your LastPass vault." So I replied, "Holy crap, Rob, you're a PowerShell wizard." To which Rob replied, "Not sure I can claim the title of wizard, though. I had ChatGPT do most of the heavy lifting."
Maybe ChatGPT is a PowerShell wizard.
Twit.
It is.
Tech just like you like it.
It's kind of amazing. PowerShell did all that. Couple of remaining stories they sank to the bottom. Let's get them all in real quick.
Yep.
Goldman Sachs lost $1 billion on the Apple Card.
Yep.
How incompetent do you have to be to lose money on the Apple Card?
So that's opportunity cost. Essentially, they have to set aside enough money to cover any bad loans that are being put onto the Apple Card.
It's so hard to get an Apple Card.
Right.
You got to have perfect credit.
It's hard to get even a credit limit above,
Yeah.
I saw some people getting a credit limit of a couple $100s.
You can't buy anything in an Apple store for $200.
That's the problem, because most of those credit cards work on razor-thin margins, but huge volumes, and Apple Card does not have
They
that.
couldn't give them the volume they need. Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's
part of a larger
I love
story.
my Apple Card.
Me too. I use it. I buy groceries with it.
I don't think I can get one in Italy, right? They don't offer them out of
but
the
I
US.
do on my watch. I just tap to pay everywhere, and it all goes in the Apple Card. It's like I'm not really paying anything, and then it comes out of my bank account, and I didn't even know.
Is that how credit works?
Yeah, it's free.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yeah,
Basically,
it's free.
Have this sandwich. It's free. What do you mean? Just tap your watch on here, and we'll give it to you.
ChatGPT, how do credit cards work? Someone type that in, please.
It just says, it's free, loser.
Apparently, loser.
How many people got it just because it's a status symbol?
I got it because it's
The card
made out
is
of
very
metal.
heavy.
It's very
It's
nice.
heavy, it's nice, but I mean, like, are you going to use that over the card that gives you miles?
I use it. I have a card that gives me miles and my Apple Card. I use the Apple Card whenever I am paying with my phone or watch, which is a lot.
Okay.
And then I use my miles card for everything else.
The Apple Card gives you 3% on Apple purchases. That, to me, is thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Or that could be hundreds of thousands of miles.
Which you can't use except for blackout dates. Which
Oh,
are
you need a better carrier.
Do you fly here on Miles?
Delta. Yes.
And on which? On Delta?
Delta.
Yeah.
When I was flying before, I amassed something like 4 million miles, so I'm still working those off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have 150,000 United miles I can't use to go anywhere I want. So it's like, thank you for nothing. The problem with Goldman Sachs is they've been really trying to become a consumer bank.
Yes.
And that is an expensive proposition
And the Apple Card's not the only one that they're trying this with. They've actually lost $4 billion since 2020. Apple accounts for $1 billion. So they're trying to do this whole niche market where you get higher income customers.
They have a buy now, pay later thing called Green Sky. By the way, didn't Apple announce BNPL, and did they ever put out buy now, pay later? I think
I heard about it.
They do have it for Apple products
They
because
do.
I've used it whenever I purchased, I don't know, like a MacBook recently.
Oh, okay.
Where it's just installments kind of baked into your Apple Card, like 0 APR. It was pretty easy.
So is that internal, or did they go through Goldman Sachs?
I think that's Goldman as well, I think. I don't know.
Maybe that's where Goldman's taking the hit.
Could be.
Yeah.
Probably.
There was an app. Called Retropod, which looked just like an iPod until Apple realized it looked just like an iPod, and they killed it. Yep.
Wait, why? Because it replicates functionality.
It looks just like an iPod, which they don't even sell anymore. The app had been downloaded 500,000 times because of viral videos on TikTok.
It's just fun. It's a fun little app.
Approved and released in October.
Get that.
Neither Apple nor Retropod has said why the app is removed, but it did come right after it got a spike.
We can start.
Maybe Apple will buy it.
Maybe Apple will buy it.
I think Apple is going to do an anniversary re-release of the iPod, so they don't want anything getting in the way of those sales.
Actually, that's the other iPod story. Somebody has hacked the iPod Nano. Like, who cares?
To do what?
Anything you want. It's actually, I would recommend.
Does it play Doom?
You can play Doom. In fact, that was how it started. He wanted to put Linux and Doom. But what it's actually is a great article. I recommend it, q3k.org, because it's how you would go about cracking a device like this. It was very locked down firmware.
Right.
And
that actually is impressive.
It's an impressive hack, but also it's a fascinating hack. This has secure boot ROM, it's got they get signed and all of that stuff. They really locked it down. And so this is a really wonderful article, I thought, on reverse engineering the boot ROM. He's actually looking at the code, not because it's open source, but I guess because he decompiled it, disassembled it. I don't know where he got the symbol table. I guess he doesn't have it. And he was able, it's really great. It says things like, well, as you can see here, there's a bug in the USB. You see this right here?
I'll trust you.
You see where it says USB device request G-State EP0 DMA? Well,
obviously.
Obviously.
I could see that across the room, Leo.
They're not sanitizing their inputs there. There it is. The bug's right there. Can you see it? That's right. If BM request type and percent $OX3 equals 0, the user-controlled index populated from the lower byte of the Windex field of the setup packet is used as an index into the G-State USB handlers without any boundary checks. What?
I don't know about the human narration on that article.
ChatGPT will never be able to make that.
Don't count on it, because now that it's written up, ChatGPT will absorb it eventually, and you could probably ask it how to hack something.
Now, Connie, at CES, did you happen to pass by the Hall of Failures?
No.
That was fun.
No.
There's an actual Hall of Failures?
They made like a bunch of little cubicles with demonstrations of technologies that have failed over the years. So they had things like the Zune, and that hurt me because I love the Zune.
Yeah, I loved it, but the Zune HD was actually good.
Yes.
Not the brown Zune.
No.
That was like the shoes.
It's chocolate. It was chocolate. Not the crap Zune.
Good news, you can swear on your YouTube videos, damn it. Did you know they were demonetizing videos with swearing? Not only just new videos, they were going back in time and looking for swearing. But profanity police...
Only in English.
Well, they didn't know French.
Yeah.
Myrkl. You have the brains of a baby calf. I fault in your general direction. And you can get that away with that, right? YouTube says, oops, some videos were flagged, others weren't. We were demonetizing. You only learned after you were demonetized. So YouTube hasn't said what it plans to change. It's not clear if the revised policy will turn it around. So just Stop cursing.
This could really affect some of the videos that I've made for Pope Francis. I got to go back through that. And
the rule, just so you know, the rule limits.
You got to just go back and just censor all of his curse
all of
words,
that out. Oh,
at
my
least in
goodness.
the first 15 seconds.
Shut the front door.
Exactly.
The rule limits or removes ads on videos where someone swears within the first 15 seconds. So you could swear after that. Or has, quote, focal usage. Or maybe I'm mispronouncing.
This is like FBI rules for listening to a call.
Of rude words throughout, and is guaranteed to completely demonetize a clip if swearing occurs in the first 7 seconds or dominates the content.
Okay. I would love to know why they're doing this.
Do people
now?
swear on the hot ones, like when they eat the hot sauce? They go, mother.
Oh, gosh, but they bleep them out.
Mother fudger.
Actually, so it's only the swears that make it through, right? If you self-censor.
You can bleep it. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So
I'm going to use all.
This is clearly why my YouTube channel. It didn't take off because I was like, "Hey guys, welcome to it," and YouTube was like, "Absolutely not."
Today we're going to use the word "it" in creative manners.
Maybe if you put the caption out.
Hit that bell, guys. Yeah. Not today.
I may be wrong, but I feel like almost all the YouTube videos are full of swearing. So I'm puzzled by that. Study says
you just have to do a Latin preamble for the first 15 seconds.
I can create a custom Latin voice.
Do they use the swear words from the Good Place and the Vatican? Like, do they say, like the Good Place had all those great swear words that weren't swear words.
I have never even been seriously tempted to swear in Rome. Which
would be
weird because I swear all the time here, but over there it just
you
feels
just like
weird.
pass into the airspace and you're just like zen.
I'm cleaned out. I'm just cleaned out.
So
it's like a swear.
The
enema.
F word becomes fork. The S word becomes shirt. Biatch becomes bench. Your hiney becomes your ash. Your pecker becomes deck. And on and on and on.
Okay, well now I have new swear words.
Yeah, you might try that. In the bad place, you can curse.
Well, I mean, remember Battlestar Galactica used frack back in the 70s, and they got away with it.
Fracking show.
Yeah.
No, in fact, that was great.
Yeah.
And then Firefly used fake Chinese words.
Yeah, like Goram.
Yeah. I loved that. I thought that's really a way of getting the anger out, but not. Study says no. And it's funny because this is maybe not how my people, the left-wingers, would like me to interpret it. The Russian trolls did not, in fact, impact the 2016 election. And I thought that on the surface of it, even back then, was a little absurd. Yeah, sure, they were there. But some people didn't read a tweet and then say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. So this study, which was conducted, it's published in Nature, long list of researchers, looking at whether or not Russian trolls on social media had any impact on the 2016 election. No, they did not. Finally, they say we found no evidence of a meaningful relationship between exposure to the Russian foreign influence campaign, which no one denies existed, and changes in attitudes, polarization, or voting behavior. That just makes sense.
It reminds me of like with the whole news cycle around Cambridge Analytica, where everybody at first was like, oh, this has completely changed the face of reality. But then you look into it a bit more and it's like, actually, people looking at tweets, the tweets aren't the most impactful part of their day-to-day lives.
Right.
It is not fully changing someone's thoughts and feelings about something.
Well, I mean, it's all been about self-reinforcement of what you already believe. And that's actually what the trolls and the influence peddlers have done. They know they're not going to change anyone's mind. There's very few fence sitters who are going to be changing their vote based on a YouTube video or a tweet. However, what they can do is they can make any sort of useful discussion toxic, which that heads off a further discussion about important issues. So in that instance, it has made an effect. It just didn't change the outcome of the vote. It has changed the outcome of future votes because no one wants to talk about anything without becoming 5 levels of horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it really is amping up the polarization on both sides. And I'm sure that one aspect of that is that people are perhaps going to end up being more actionable on certain items.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
someone who might not have donated to like a far right campaign.
Correct.
If you see enough content, they're going to maybe send that $5 or $10.
But that's so subtle. It's probably not measurable, right? Maybe that's why
It's not easily measurable.
Yeah.
Because no
Yeah,
one's
but
going to be opening up their books to show exactly how much they've received in donations after the last hate speech campaign.
It can also, though, sway what are the topics of conversation and push them in subtle ways, one direction or another.
The so-called Overton window gets shifted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that concludes this thrilling, gripping
I think
edition.
we ran out of news.
We ran out of time. It's been almost 3 hours.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I apologize to all and sundry.
Have you noticed that I tend to be on the longest twits?
You haven't even gotten to half this crap you brought.
Wait, yeah, can we see another doodad, please?
Doodad.
What's the silliest one?
I think we saw
the silliest ones I did not bring because they are not safe to be on the air at Twit.
The urine puck?
No, but they
You
do
didn't
have
just
to
bring a bottle of pee. You could have sold that to someone outside the studio for $100.
There was one from a company called Handy.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to know.
All right.
I'll just leave that. Bye, Leo.
Bye. Good night.
It's comfortable though, right?
It's nice.
It's sheer.
What is this material? This
aerogel.
What does it do? What is it?
So it's 99% air, so it's super light, but it's also one of the best insulators that NASA's been able to come up with.
It feels very toasty.
Yeah.
And it's very light, and it's comfy. It
will retain almost all of your body heat. In fact, I used this when it was down at 30 degrees, and it was too hot. I had to open it up.
Yeah. Nice. Will this be available in your local REI?
Oh, gosh, yes, eventually. But right now, it's Big Glue. Actually, that and the bolster are Kickstarters right now.
It smells like Mars. No,
wait, what?
So this is a Kickstarter, Big Glue?
This is a Kickstarter.
Oh, neat.
It's kind of fun. I like having those companies back at CES. I spent so much time down in the Eureka Plaza or Eureka Zone, down in the bottom floor of Venetian. That's where you find like the old CES.
I want to go to the failed product zone. Do they have that?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Leo, next time you come with me.
I will.
One day, just one day.
I've been to the Eureka Zone.
Yeah.
I feel like I just jumped out of an airplane. I'm having trouble getting the parachute back in the box. So let me just push this out of the. Oh, now it's in front of Connie. Oh no! What am I going to do? Connie, what are you doing these days at CNET? Anything exciting coming up?
Well, I told you we're looking at all that sustainability tech. I was actually really excited to see some of the themes and the conversations that people were having. And one of the funnest products that I saw was basically a bread box that can keep your food that is not in the refrigerator fresh for 2 months. Caltech was the company out of Japan. And, most people think of a bread box as a bread box, but it was a way to minimize food waste.
Was it like UVC or how did it do that?
It has a photocatalysis, a chemical procedure that's used in the decontamination of water to keep bread and produce fresh.
How interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I will, if I have to freeze or refrigerate bread, but it always takes some of the good flavor out of it. But on the other hand, it'll go moldy, at least in our house, within a few days, so it's better than nothing. But if there were a box about the size of a, bread box that I could put stuff into that wouldn't refrigerate it but would keep it, that sounds great. You also had a very nice piece by Ty Pendlebury on the most ridiculous and weird tech gadgets, like the Hush Me voice mask.
I don't understand that one. They tried selling me on it. I'm like, no.
There seem to be a lot of products to cover your mouth.
No.
The Dyson air purifying
There were
headphones.
so many of
last
those
year.
that are basically
a year and a half too late.
This was never a product, the Charmin Roll Bot, but it got a lot of coverage because, and I've always said this, if you want coverage at CES, be the very first thing people see as they walk into the Pepcom or Showstoppers. All the press will stop, cover your item, and then go home because they just want to get the hell out of there. The smart tube toothbrush.
I love the TV that falls off a window when it runs out of power. That sounds like a great idea.
I think
terrible
that's really
idea.
smart.
Look at this. Going to get one of those.
As soon as the power dies, the suction cups fail, and your TV falls off the window. Who thinks this is a good idea?
No.
The first thing you're going to do is make sure it's always plugged in.
Right.
So it doesn't fall off the window. Anyway, all this great stuff at CNET.
Another toothbrush? Man.
Wow.
How about a taser holster?
For my taser.
Thank
That's
God.
great.
So, you know,
I've
like
been wondering where should I put my taser?
Sure, like an animal. You're holding in your hand or you just have in your pocket.
Yeah.
Here's the PP pet dryer.
Yeah, I saw that one. No.
Well, it goes with your...
I was about to say, my cat would destroy me.
We remember this. This was the vibrating fork.
Is that the spork?
The happy fork.
Okay.
Another one in the front door.
That got coverage 8 years ago.
Yeah,
It needs to stop.
This is 25 years of bad stuff.
Hush
That's
me.
what this is.
Yeah.
The Belty,
Yeah.
smart pant holding device.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It adjusts to granular changes in your voice.
That was good. That was yeah.
Anyway, there's also serious coverage at CNET. And I agree with you. Sustainability, it's about time the tech industry started thinking about that, Connie, because I feel horrible. We throw this stuff out. It's terrible. Terrible. It's right on the front page. CNET Zero, everything you need to know about sustainability. So this is going to be a permanent section now on the...
Yes, it is a permanent section. We've been sending reporters to COP26, COP27. Like I said, there's going to be government regulation that steps in, but then people are going to want to make choices about what they're buying, and especially if they're not spending a lot of money on things and they want to be more deliberate in what they're choosing.
Bravo.
They need information.
Bravo.
Actually, this is another one of our big initiatives. We call it Care for the Common Home, but it's basically sustainability. So that's another reason why I might call you to do a conference over in
My phone is open, standing by.
Connie Guglielmo, editor-in-chief of CNET at Tech Leads, LEDES, on the Twitter. It's so nice to see you. So nice to have you on. Thank you for taking this Sunday afternoon or evening to be with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
CNET.com, kids. Theinformation.com is where you'll find Paris Martineau. What's your favorite coffee shop in Brooklyn?
Oh, that's hard.
Do you have a hangout?
Probably in Brooklyn, I go to this place called The Good Batch often. They do really great, little sweet pastries.
It feels like that's just what you should do in Brooklyn.
It is,
go have coffee.
I am strangely in a neighborhood where I am surrounded by 6 different vegan bakery coffee shops. So I've got to go to the one that uses animal parts at the very least.
I don't know.
Just to make my myself feel a little worse about my contributions to the world. Yeah.
Hey, the good thing about animals, they're sustainable.
I mean,
not really.
That is technically true. It is technically true, but
they do sustain
they're not good
themselves.
for the planet. They're not good. For the planet.
Not good.
Yeah, not good for the planet.
Our use of them, not good.
Paris Martineau on the Twitter.
Yeah, find me there.
If I were named Paris, I would be living in Paris right now.
The thing is, you quickly learn that even if you speak excellent French people will never understand the concept that your name is Paris and that you are in
That's
Paris.
cute, yes.
And no matter how great your French is, they'll immediately be like, switch to English. No, I asked you what your name is, not where we are.
Oh, my God.
I was there for a year. I had to go by my middle name, Gabrielle.
Which is a beautiful name.
It is, but I not my first name.
When you're in France, do you call yourself Paris?
I tried, but that didn't work either.
Was confusing.
They just
You
didn't
get blank
get it. They were just
stares.
confused.
Like, my name is Cleveland.
The French are vicious.
Yeah, they say,
they're like,
it's
you clearly don't understand.
They sense
confused
weakness.
America.
They go right in. Yeah. This is not my dog. Mr.
you have to respect.
Father, Reverend, whatever it is, the right Father Padre.
Defender of the faith.
Defender of the faith.
Yes.
His new app is on the App Store right now, Android, Google Play Store as well. Jesuit Pilgrimage app.
Yeah, and if you poke around, you can find the places where I recorded the audio for the meditations, and they did not take me out. It was supposed to be a placeholder, but I'm still in there.
Did you do it with commitment? Did you care?
Of course, I care.
So that's
if
fine.
I'm going to produce it, I'm going to do it properly.
So it's okay. It's good. Yeah. Good.
And coming soon to that app, we're going to show off coffee places in Rome. Is that you
That
said?
would be awesome.
Good places to eat.
Good places. Yeah.
Actually, the Jesuits.
Ice cream places.
Oh, gelato.
No, I know all the good gelato places. When you come, we're going to hang.
Oh,
Okay.
There are 3 places you have to go to. One is called Old Bridge. It's right next to the Vatican Museums. The other one is called Cremilla, which is near Casa Gandolfo. And the third one is called Teatro Gelato. That's like the artisanal gelato. That's close
Theater
to the
of Gelato.
The Forum. Yeah.
I want to act in
I'm
that
there.
theater.
I'm there.
Just saying.
I'm there.
Let's all go. We'll do Twit from Rome next time.
Yeah. Look,
In
I've been
April.
telling people.
Seriously.
We have a place. We
I
have
know.
the
We're gonna do
bandwidth.
that.
We have an apartment on the campus. Come on over.
Yeah. I have to figure out a way we could spend a couple extra days there. But that would be really
well.
fun.
I mean,
I'd
now
like to
that
do
you don't have that weekend commit.
I know, that whole radio thing.
commitment,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Good.
That's many,
Yes.
many years. Wow.
19 years doing radio, I finally said, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to do this. And so I'm doing it with Micah on Sundays, and it was so much. It's been so much fun. We've done a couple of shows.
And it's going to get better
And
because
why-
you're finding your stride.
Why shouldn't we be doing it for us instead of for them? It's the first time in my whole life since I was 16 that I haven't had a job.
You know what?
Working for something.
I can be your call screener.
You need a call
I can do
screener.
that from Rome.
Could you?
Yeah.
I will. I'll do some crank calls for you, Leah.
Would you please? That'd be awesome.
I would love to moonlight with a person with a soundboard, just kind of make some toilet flushing noises, like a
You know, it'd
big
be great
horn noise.
if
I
you
could
could
do that. Yeah.
have like a black dot over your face and have a voice changer talk like this
That's
or
right.
whatever, and then we could
Yeah,
say
it's great.
she or he is calling from inside the house or whatever. It'd be great.
Yeah.
We could do something fun with you. I think that'd be good. You're more than welcome to,
I think-
to do that. We'd love to.
You could use my
great,
catacomb
yeah.
set.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful! I'll just be like,
Blue
Leo,
screen it.
are your bones running? Like,
I will
what
say
does that
this.
mean?
What?
Are your
What?
bones running?
What? My
So
bones?
during the pandemic, there was a retaining wall in one of the caves that was starting to crumble, and I got permission to fix it. So they got me the supplies so I could wall it back up.
Wait a
A
minute.
retaining wall
Wait a minute.
in the
What?
caves with the bones.
Like Edgar Allan Poe, the Telltale Heart.
Yes.
A trowel.
The
and
cask of Amontillado.
Which is exactly what I thought of. So I got a plastic skeleton and I put vestments on it and I walled it up. So 100 years from now, some Jesuit's going to be going through the now crumbling wall and they're going to find a skeleton.
And then they say, what is it they were eating that their bones were like a plastic?
Yes,
What
but did you
is
put
it?
Zune in its pocket?
See,
you got to open it back up.
Or a Sony
Put a zoom in
Walkman. Just
there.
something just really strange.
Thank you all for being here. We love having you on. And thanks to all of our viewers and listeners, our Club Twit members. We really appreciate your watching the show. We do Twit Sunday afternoons, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. You can watch us do it live.twit.tv. Chat with us in the IRC or our Club Twit Discord. If you're not a member, $7 a month gets you ad-free versions of all of our shows, access to the Discord, access to the Twit Plus feed. It's so much fun. Where's the logo, Aunt? Aunt Pruitt is our Clubhouse community organizer. Next week, Inside Twit. Lisa and I will give you the inside story. Club members only. Win 2 Dow's Fireside Chat February 9th. And yes, I mentioned that interview we're going to do with the author of Demon and Freedom TM, his new book. Critical Mass comes out early February. Daniel Suarez will do a special club-only interview on February 10th. $7 a month. Supports us, supports the work we do. Twit.tv/club. Twit, we thank you so much. We also appreciate if you take our survey. You only have a couple weeks left to do that. It helps us sell ads, so we know a little more about you. We don't want to spy on you, so this is completely voluntary. And it's not personal. We don't keep track of your email or anything like that. But it helps us in aggregate say, well, we have this many men, this many women, college educated, all that stuff. What kind of laptops they use, what kind of operating system. Twit.tv/survey23. It also helps us understand you better so we can develop more programming that's right up your alley. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time. Another Twit is in the can.